Hello, everyone. Welcome back. It's rankings time. We got a pretty quick turnaround. I think this is going to be coming out on Thursday, which means technically we're already behind because Middle East has definitely started their group stage. That being said, let's just go ahead and talk about the top 20. This week I'm joined by Geo and Pyro. Pyro, we've had you on before for the rankings, but Geo, this is your first time. Geo, how are you doing? And how excited are you to be? How excited are you to be here?
It is what it is. I get a lot of calls and stuff to be on shows like this.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
no, I am very excited. I love this stuff that you do. So
Oh yeah,
excited to
cool.
be
Yeah.
on.
All right, and then Pyro, welcome back. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm not as blessed with these opportunities as Geo is, evidently,
Yeah.
but very happy to be here. Happy to be back here. Happy to defend all these in the comments once this video comes out. So,
It'll be a
Yeah,
great
same
time.
here.
It'll be a great time.
mhm.
We've had an interesting week of Rocket League action. I, for one, I know Pyro, you've mentioned this range specifically. I'm very excited for this 5 through 11 range. That's gonna be that's gonna be disgusting. Um,
Excited is one way to put it. Yeah.
what it is one way to put it. I think we got to start out though. We'll just roll through the honorable mentions. Geo, since it's your first time here, I'm gonna veil yours first, and I'll let you go first.
All right. I have Genji, Novo, and Dignitas. The reason I have Genji so low right now is because we didn't really see them do much at the kickoff LAN. Like, I'm gonna be honest, they showed up and they might have won one series. But I was not impressed with them at the kickoff LAN, and then they were awful in the Swiss stage, and then they were really, really bad. Right now at the regional. So I think on their current form, I don't place them in the top 20. I know that can be kind of controversial, but I mean this is going off current form. This is not like, oh, where do we think they'll be in a month? You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
I definitely think Genji can easily, like, next regional they could be in the top 20 like so easily. But right now, based off current form, I don't see it. Novo, I mean, they missed a regional entirely, so no hate to them. But I feel like it's kind of hard to put them in the top 20 if you're going to be so inconsistent like that. Um, and then Dignitas, I just need to see more, because especially in NA, you see a fair amount of teams kind of like they'll have one really good result and then kind of, just not replicate it. So I just need to see more out of Dignitas. I need to see him do it again, and
Yeah.
then I'll probably have him in the top 20.
I think that's fair. I think that's fair. I'm going to go ahead and unveil my honorable mentions just because they're looking rather similar. I've got a Dignitas on here. I've got a Novo on here. And I also have a Gentle Bench. With the Dignitas point, I mean, I agree with what you're saying. It's too soon. They impressed against Space Station, both in the Swiss stage, which, I mean, you can kind of dismiss the Swiss stage. I know a lot of people like to. I try to pay attention to those results at least a little bit, and so I was definitely, giving them some respect, but I also did not expect them to come out and beat Space Station in that best of 7 as well. They looked rather competitive against Shopify Rebellion in the playoffs as well, but one win over a kind of lackluster Space Station this weekend, and then a Played Them Close award isn't enough to push you into the top 20 just yet, but that doesn't mean you're not on the radar. Novo, I do agree with you as well, where I think I had them in here for my original rankings, and then I had to go back and add another team in, and they got knocked out. I'm bummed, but I think they bounced back. They have made Regional 3, but that isn't really incorporated into these rankings. And then that's the other reason why I have Gentle Bench in the honorable mentions. I think they had a very difficult bracket in the main event, including I think they faced both finalists, and both of those were teams that they beat in the Swiss stage. So Open 2 form of Gentle Bench, I think deserves an honorable mention. Open 3 form, I don't really know what happened, but yeah, we're ignoring that for these rankings still. So,
Yeah.
yep. And then that leaves Pyro. Do you have any honorable mentions that match up with ours? Let's see.
I have one.
Okay,
I guess
okay,
I'll
yeah.
start with Dig. It's
The
kind of on the
Dignitas.
the same thing. Like, I didn't spoiler. I don't have M80 ranked. And I think Dig showed me a little more. I think in terms of the teams that they beat, obviously that SSG win is very good. The Shopify series was solid. They kind of proved that they can actually consistently stay close to these teams, like this is the level they were at. Like that, make no mistake, they were playing at that sort of level for pretty much the entire tournament. So it was not like a one-off fluke performance. So if they can maintain that level, I think they'll be sniffing around the bottom of these rankings for a while. I'm throwing Project De La Cruz up here. It's kind of the same as last event. It's kind of the same. Like at the end of last season, um, Virtus Pro was at the bottom end of the top 20, and I think this De La Cruz team is doing about as much as they can in APAC. I don't think they dropped a single game this entire second open, so they're looking pretty good. If they have another solid LAN performance, then they could sneak into the top 20 again, but there's not really much that you can do with them until the LAN actually happens. Uh, Amethyst is putting on some really good form in SAM right now, which is it's been kind of swept under the rug because of how well MIBR are playing, kind of the big three in SAM. But Amethyst took MIBR to Game 7, played Furia close, as they usually do. Played them close to Word. Welcome back, everybody.
That's 2 awards so far. We're counting.
Yeah, and they played Furia to a Game 7 in the semis of the first Open. So Amethyst look pretty good right now. It sucks that there's already 3 good teams in SAM because this is a really interesting roster. I think Suko and CRN both have a lot of upside, and Wisty, of course, has been waiting for the right team, and this seems to be it. So hopefully they can make some more noise. And then RLEsports is a tough call for me to put out outside of the top 20. I was really going back and forth on this and my number 20 team for who I was going to put in. I ended up putting R8 outside looking in just because the teams they've beaten are kind of so-so. ROC had a pretty mediocre first event where they got swept by sleeping. And then this R8 roster, which is 2/3 of them, they picked up Mahmed, which I think is better than Twiz. And they played a little better, played them close to Ward against Falcons. Welcome back again. Game 7 lost the standard, where you go up and they call a tech timeout and then they win the rest of the games. Sleeping in 5, Twisted Minds lost in 5, so I just need to see a little bit more from them. I mean, it's tough when you play in playoffs the 2 best teams in the region, probably 2 of the 4 best teams in the world, but it's about who you beat, and R8 just haven't beaten enough for me to rank them comfortably inside the top 20.
All right. Yeah, I definitely I feel like I'm overlooking De La Cruz, and unfortunately I feel like that's just going to be kind of how things roll. I don't know if you guys have seen, and I don't know how much it's really been calculated by the public, but I think based on the rule books, you can go through and calculate what the groups are going to be for the major. And right now, it's looking like APAC is going to get grouped with EU1, NA2, and MENA2, if my math is right. And so they're
rough.
They're either going to shoot up into the top 8 of the world, or they're going to stay right where they are. So yeah, that's a difficult group. I'll touch on Amethyst a little bit as well, just because I don't have them in here. Spoilers, but I have been, following them along as well. I wish they were, I view it as a pretty clean SAM top 4, even with the, the fact that it is a pretty comfortable 4th for Amethyst. They're just, they're that Game 7 away from actually breaking in and being in that major conversation. And I hope they can get there, because when they're on form, they look phenomenal. But yeah, we just haven't seen it yet. And unfortunately, the team that we kind of expect to be the 3rd best team in South America currently leads the standings. So that's a tough place to come back from. So.
Yeah, I personally don't follow MENA and SAM too closely. I look at the results every week and I follow that, but I'm not really one to usually watch the games. So I'm just going off of what I know of the players and how all the players performed last year, and how the results are showing them this year. So just want to throw that out there, that if I don't know, Team Secret or something like that is actually playing insane, but they're just losing close series, then I don't really watch those.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that is on me.
No, you're good.
So.
Secret's a weird one. Secret's a weird one. And I'm sure we'll get to them in a little bit. But I think we got to roll to this number 20 pick. I'm curious because Pyro mentioned that he had R8 just barely missing out. Looks like he had Gentle Bench in there ahead of them. You want to talk to me about Gentle Bench?
Yeah, so for full transparency, I did make this pick after they missed the regional because I was trying to ignore this is supposed to be for the first 2 opens, and I think just barely their body of work over the first 2 opens merits them this spot. And it's tough because I really do not like to look at Swiss results, but this team has had some pretty, their bracket and open too is as unfortunate as you can get. They played GK fairly close. They played, KC was having kind of a down day. And that Magnifico win that Gentle Bench scored in Open 1 has aged well. So I think they are a good team and they have high potential. Missing Open 3 probably signals to me that this team is going to get kind of broken up for parts because each of these 3 players are pretty good, like roster move fodder for whoever wants to make an upgrade or change out of the big 5, maybe even a little below that in EU right now. So it's unfortunate that they missed. I think they are still pretty good. I don't rate them like super highly power ranked. Like I think their ceiling is not that much higher than this. I think a lot of people have this team as underperforming where they could be. I think this is actually where their level is. So maybe they'll do better, but this is most likely a team that disbands after missing the 3rd Open. Like that's just a pretty tough result to get after feeling like it got robbed from them in the 2nd Open.
Yeah. Yep.
I have a question that's gonna derail us a tiny bit, so
All right, derail
I
us a
won't
bit.
try and stay on it. I won't try and stay on it too much, but you mentioning that Gentleman has like players that could easily be used for like roster changes and stuff. Just really quick early prediction from you two. Do we think that any of the EU top 5 will make a roster change after the major?
I think it's entirely dependent on how badly the region as a whole does. Like if most of the region is competitive, then I think everyone stays the same. I think if not the whole region is competitive, like if multiple teams are like, "Oh, we're really underperforming," that's where we start to see an interesting transfer window. So
Okay.
Yeah, it's a cascading effect. Like if a Vitality makes a move, then everyone below them is going to have to start shuffling.
Yeah.
yep,
And it also depends on Open 3 and the major as well. Like if somebody, if GK or Gentlemates ends up missing the major somehow, then they could be in for a roster move. Especially GK, that roster feels kind of tentative.
I think if
Yeah.
you miss the major with that kind of lead, you have to make a roster change. Honestly,
Yeah, which honestly is possible. Like we've seen crazy
Saw
things.
NAP
We've
doing
already...
last season, to be fair.
yep,
yeah, and then we already have Geekay who went 9 through 12 losing just to like unfortunate bracket scenarios. Them or gentlemates, so something like that can definitely happen.
yep. I mean, we've heard I think I saw someone on Reddit say it's like, why are Gen G fans freaking out over this performance? This is better than you guys were doing last first split, and they got a point. But that being said, this performance was absolutely dismal from them this weekend.
Yeah,
I was their Swiss performance. Normally, you don't. Again, I feel like we're going to say this over and over again. You don't want to take too much from Swiss, but their Swiss performance had me thinking I was going to be starting Skippy in fantasy soccer instead of Justin as my striker. It was looking bad down to the very last series, but they managed to scrape into the main event. They take the win over Seal, who I actually rate kind of decently. And then they run into 2, relatively competitive teams, a new M80 that's really hot, and then Foot Esports, and they lose both those series. And as I was doing predictions, I'm like, I could easily see them losing these 2 series if they do it. If they play like they did in Swiss, they're losing these 2 series, and they did. And so I think there was some surprise over Genji losing out this weekend. But I'm really, really worried for this roster, and they got a lot to fix. They're currently 4 points behind the major standings because SSG has 13, Genji has 9, so they need to outplace them twice in the bracket. And Foot's also 3 points ahead of them, so they've got a mountain to climb. And I mean, you can sit here and say, hey, well, they did it last year. There's actually only one member of that core remaining, and so I don't know. It's a more competitive North America. I'd be tough pressed to see it, but yeah, this drops them all the way to number 20 for me. It dropped them out of your rankings, Geo. It almost did to mine. I'd be surprised if Pyro doesn't at least have them an honorable mention unless he's going for dramatic effect. But we'll end up seeing.
I'm gonna be honest. Now, this might be kind of a hot take, but ever since Gen G picked up RMC, right? Ever since they went from the FK Appjack Chronic team to RMC, that team has had the same type of vibe for me this whole time, and so honestly, I think they need to. I think they need to blow up the roster. Okay, like that's no hate to any of the players. I mean, I guess I could see like Justin and Rise sticking together or something. And this is like no shade on Magic Bear. I just need something new. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, and
I don't know.
I feel like you're right, but it's also crazy to say considering they just brought in Rise. Like you'd think that would be the
Yeah.
something new, and yet here we still are. So
Yeah, that's why I'm like I feel like you kind of got to blow it up at some point if it keeps not working. I don't know. Maybe like get Scribbles out of retirement or something like that and bring him in or something like that. But like I genuinely like don't know like what you do here if you're Gen G
yeah,
because this kind of just it keeps happening.
it
Like
I think you keep 2/3 for the next split at a bare minimum, and then if you don't make worlds through conventional methods, maybe you just blow it all up for LCQ. But
Yeah.
yep,
Yeah, you
well,
got it. It's like who do you even change though? And it's like who do you bring in? I don't know.
no,
It's weird.
yep. Well,
I
let's
could honestly see like Frosty being brought on or something like that with how he's been playing recently, but
yeah.
I don't know.
Let's pivot back over to APAC. I don't have these guys as I mentioned, so Jill, I'll have you close out our thoughts on Project De La Cruz.
I like Sphinx. That's pretty much it. I
Valid
like
take.
Sphinx. I'm a Sphinx fanboy. I like him. He's cool.
He's gonna have one clip against a really good team, and it's gonna be what feeds the region for the next split. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, no, I do think that I don't think that this Project De La Cruz team is bad. I think that they, even with the awful group that they're going to be placed in, I would not be surprised if they take like a team to game 5 or something like that.
Yeah, it'll probably be Carmine too for dramatic
It
effect.
probably will be,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I'm watching you guys both put Genji way down here, and I'm thinking maybe I'm gonna be one of the less reactive members of the cast this season, or
Yeah.
maybe I'm too NA biased. We're gonna, I guess I'll talk about that more later.
We'll see about the NA bias. We got a full NA squad here, but it's the
We
time
do.
to show up if there's ever been a time.
We don't have many non-NA members of the cast, to be fair.
We
Myth
have
does a lot of heavy
one.
lifting there.
We have one, and then Belair also is like only NA, and the fact that he lives here, he's pretty impartial.
We have a couple
Yeah.
Vitality fans.
So,
Yeah.
But yeah, we've got. I forgot to mention this before number 20. We've got probably 3 of the most reactionary ranking members. So curious to see how that pans out.
Wait, I have
And
I have stats. I have numbers.
You do not for Geo because he's done like 3 rankings, but just based on what I've seen so
I have
far.
to remember what the spreadsheet was called. Okay, but based
Oh,
from
yeah.
2025 at least, I can say that Martian. Actually, Martian and I were both kind of dead center. We were almost the same amount of reactivity.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
I was a
Oh, yeah,
little more
Michael was-
reactive than average. You were a little less reactive than average.
Mhm.
But we weren't like too sticky. Oh, you have the there are the
Yeah, I've got
numbers.
it pulled up now. Yeah, Belair and
I do
Rockets
spreadsheets,
being
guys.
not shocking.
Yeah, Rockets is sticky.
Yep.
Michael's not.
Michael's not. All right, let's jump to number 19. Magnifico Food and Power. All right, Geo, you're keeping us out of North America and Europe early, which Pyro and I obviously did not get the memo on. Talk to me about this Power Squad.
I still rate Wildcard pretty decently. I'm not gonna say that they're a top 6 team like what the world's results said, right?
Yeah.
But I still think that they're very good, and if Power is going even with them, I feel like you have to give them a little bit of credit for that.
All right.
Mhm.
All right. Let's. Where do I go now? Let's pivot to foot. Let's pivot to foot.
Let's put it to foot.
Let's talk about the NA bias that maybe is showing up. I don't know if it's showing up. I'm assuming you have them lower than Gen G still at this point. So
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I guess I'll talk about Genji more later. But I think foot people are giving a lot of disrespect to, and I made a tweet about this. Shocker.
Mhm.
But this is a team that's a very solid core. I think Soso was really the only question mark. Like we really knew how good Cheese and Frosty were. And the question was going to be consistency, and they've ironically been very consistent with a high floor and a low ceiling, which is not what I expected, not what most people expected out of this roster. I think the expectation was that, especially with Frosty on it, they could either perform, top 4 level, or they'd crash out every so often. And instead, they've been, top 6, top 4. They haven't beaten anybody good in NA. I think that SSG matchup is terrible, but beating Genji twice is pretty good, at least talent-wise, and they've been fairly consistent. I don't like them dropping 2 games to Little State and 3 games to M80. It kind of implies that there's really not that much motion going on there. But I mean, they're the gatekeeper team. I think if you want to be certified top 5, top 6 NA, you got to beat them. M80 couldn't, so M80 is not here, and I think this is kind of a good level for them. They probably won't move that much, is my guess. I don't expect them to pop off. I think they're kind of just gonna step aside for whoever tries to make an actual major push in Open 3. I think they'll probably go out 6th or 8th or something.
They're in a solid position, so if they get the bracket to work out similar to how it did this weekend, they're booking their tickets. But
Yeah, I mean they're only one point back.
Yeah, but yeah, it seems like we're getting the complexity gatekeeper level Frosty rather than the space station.
Yes.
I'm making finals and then missing main event. level Frosty.
Yeah.
So,
No, perhaps that was more of a reveal thing.
yeah, perhaps. Magnifico. Um, this is the team that like added in last moment because I kind of forgot about them almost, but they've been in a very solid run of form. They take down both Carmine Court and Ninjas Pajamas in the group. They then go out in the top 6, but honestly, after you've done that, you've at least earned a little bit of respect. Um, I'm curious to see what they do this event. I'm blanking on who they end up matching up in the bracket. But this is one of the teams that, I think has been floating around this range for a lot of people, and I haven't put as much respect on them just because I feel like, with Raziers didn't have much success in OCE last year. Yes, he made a major, but it didn't win a single event. Tox also kind of struggled in MENA and has struggled to make LAN events throughout his entire career. Atomic, he had his moments on Twisted Minds, but especially towards the end of the season, that roster wasn't doing so hot. But I think you got to put the respect on what they did in this most recent Open. It earned them a spot at number 19 for me, and I'm curious to see what they do more. But I also could see it being, these 18 through 20 spots are normally a rotating door, so we'll see if they end up sticking around.
Tox finishes 1 spot away from major again. I know what you are.
That would
Yeah,
be crazy.
probably.
All right, number 18. We got a Team Secret, Wild Card, and Magnifico. Gio, I'll let you keep talking about Magnifico then.
Yeah, they haven't really broken through yet to make like a really good result, like standings wise. They show me what they're capable of in certain moments, like beating K Corp and stuff. So they have shown like what they're capable of, but I don't think they're doing it at a consistent enough level to be one of the top teams in EU right now.
Yep. All right, and then we'll transition into another. Yeah, let's go to the next OCE team. We had Geo talk about Power. I'm assuming he still got Wildcard on this list, but you've got Wildcard a little bit lower than that. Pyro, talk to me about them.
Yeah, I had wildcard like fairly high coming into the season. I think I had them at 12, and then they dropped pretty hard after the last Open because in OCE, you kind of gotta win everything to stay at a contending level, and they won this event, so their prize is getting to stay in my rankings. There's a big cluster of teams in NA, EU, and SAM that are just kind of crowding up the middle of this rankings, and it'll take like a LAN to really differentiate where everyone lies, because right now it is very hard to slot any team, they really interlace the teams from different regions together because of how close each of the individual regions are. So wildcard just kind of ends up coming out at the bottom because I have less confidence in them than I do in most of these NA, EU, and SAM teams. They had a very good regional. I think they dropped 1 game to Power, and that was it, including in Swiss. So clearly they are still very good. And we'll see on LAN. I don't remember if their projected LAN bracket was friendly or
It actually
unfriendly.
is. Whoever the OCE
Yeah.
1 seed, I think they'll end up with NA1, SSA1, and EU4. So that's
Okay.
a
Yeah,
very,
that's very
makeable-
possible.
Well,
Yeah,
if
they can get out
bring
of
their
there.
LAN
Yeah.
form and they play a GK or General Mates, they can do it, or Vitality.
Yeah, they could do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, we'll see. I don't have too much confidence in them, but this isn't necessarily a lack of confidence in them. It's more a lack of confidence in these rankings because these were an absolute nightmare to do.
Yep. All right, and then I got Team Secret moving up 2 spots, which I did not think I was going to be doing at any point up until they face Furia in the semifinals and inexplicably win that series. I don't know what's happening in South America. I just genuinely don't. Like, I'm watching at least part of it, and it still confuses me. Like, MIBR is suddenly a finals team, suddenly winning finals. Team Secret's upsetting Furia. Amethyst, I want them to be winning, but they're not. I think that's where the bias comes in, truthfully. They definitely shouldn't be on the rankings, but Secret at least getting the win over Fury kind of stabilizes them and proves that they should still be considered in my top 20. But at least before then, they were hanging on by a thread. I know they've lost to MIBR maybe like 4 times now, if I'm doing the math correctly on that, which is kind of crazy. They almost pulled it back in the finals. I thought for a second it was looking like they might be able to flip the script, but they did not. It went MIBR's way instead. But they are doing just enough to hang around at number 18. They've got some work to do in this upcoming regional, but if they can beat Furia, I mean, maybe they are able to overtake them. How many points behind would they be? They're going to be...
A
Are
win.
they
I ran
5
the
points
odds. A
behind?
win gives them about like a 92% chance to
Yeah.
make the major. They are 5 points behind Furia and 8 behind MIBR.
Yeah. That's
Would
tough.
that
So
would that force a
it's
tiebreaker if we
yes,
get
it would force a
Furia?
tiebreaker.
Yeah.
Technically, you can a three-way tiebreaker is really easy. It's just Secret beats Furia in the Secret beats Furia in the grand finals. MIBR goes out in the semis, and it's a three-way tiebreaker.
So they're in the
Ooh,
weird
that
spot.
would be hype.
They're in the weird spot of hoping that Furia takes out MIBR for them, almost. Because I don't know if I have
Yes.
faith in Secret to take out MIBR,
Well,
considering how
actually, they
one-sided that's
probably
been.
want MIBR to take out Furia because that would be much easier to more.
That's
I mean,
true.
they're closer to them in the standings. Can they do it? We'll see.
Yeah. All right. Let's jump to 17 then. I know we're gonna have a repeat here. We'll keep talking about Team Secret though, because Geo's got my list just without one member a little bit higher. So
Yeah. Again, I'm not super versed in Sam gameplay wise, other than what I see at lands. And that's also because I believe Sam is usually kind of going on around the same time as NA usually. So, and I'm watching NA. I think Secret deserves to be on this list after beating Furia in the quarterfinals because that's a very high pressure match. Like, if you don't win that, then it's probably like you're definitely not going to Boston. So I think that kind of does a little bit for me there. But at the same time, there's still, I don't know, it's still not quite. Uh, I guess they don't give me the same vibe as Furia or Made in Brazil, and I don't know if that's kind of a bad excuse, but I don't know how else to describe it.
yeah, I mean they don't have the same like threat level because especially with
Yeah,
MIBR actually starting to take some wins now, and then Secret almost feels like the leftovers from what Furia actually wanted. It's like
yeah.
it's hard press. That being said, if they're able to beat Furia, then more power to them. But I definitely see what you mean. So, all right, and then I'll follow up on wild card as I have them in here as well. I had him at 12 preseason as well, Pyro, and I think I dropped him to 18 after that first event, just like you did. I've got him moving up one, but I'm. It's because I had Genji moving down. I guess that's probably the where we have that flipped. But yeah, it's good regional two. Curious to see if you can do it in regional three. I think you're the favorites heading into it, considering how dominant this most recent regional was compared to Power kind of scraping by last event against Wildcard. But at least it makes it entertaining and come down to the final weekend, which I'm hoping we get another final between them, and I'm hoping it delivers. We got that in, I think, 3 different regions right now. So, yeah, and then Sam is obviously crazy as all get out. So, yeah, excited for this weekend in OCE. Wildcard really holds their spot, especially this much higher over Power, who I don't even have as an honorable mention, mainly because while Power does get the first regional win, I simply can't see them pulling off a top 6 on land like Wildcard did. That's still gonna hold firm in my mind until we watch them on land and they completely disappoint like they did last year, which there's no guarantee that they will. So that's why they hold it 17 for me. Well, technically go up 1 to 17.
Mhm.
So, all right, and then Pyro,
Yeah.
start us off on Man City, if unless you got
Yeah.
wildcard thoughts. But
This is an interesting team because I think actually they're not like they were hard to rank mostly because of the teams around them. Less so like I feel like their level I think we have a good idea of. Playing Carmine to 2 Game 7s in
mhm.
back-to-back regionals is impressive. In terms of who they've beaten though, they have a bunch of good Swiss wins, and then I think they might have one over like Gentle Bench, Hogan Mode in Open 1, uh, and really that's it in main events. So they need to beat more good teams. Obviously, showing your level is one thing, turning that into results is another. I really do like this team. I don't get the same vibes I did from 100% last season. I feel like they are going to have the potential to get better, and I don't think they get picked for parts. I think this is a team whose players are a lot harder to take apart. Maybe Tempo gets poached by a GK or something. But yeah, they need to win outside of Swiss because playing it's tough that you get Carmine in 2 draws. Though that Novo match in Open 1 was very very winnable. That reverse sweep was
Yeah.
painful to watch. I think they scored like 1 goal in 3 games until Game 7. So once they get it together, I think they can be really good. But EU is so stacked right now, and if they're not pulling out these matches when it matters, especially early in the season when teams are still meshing, it's a little bit of a sign of concern. So they do need to get their act together. Open 3 might be more of a prove it than a can we make major scenario because of how far back they are in the standings, but do really need to see them prove it.
Yeah. All right. Let's jump into 16. We're cruising. We're doing great. We got a Gen G sandwich up in here. 3 North American teams. Typically this year with sandwiches, we've gone with the odd one out first. So, Pyro, close out our thoughts on Gen G.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm not reacting as heavily as you guys are, and I guess usually my logic would be drop them a lot. Um, but I still have faith. This team has a lot of talent, too much talent to be doing this poorly, and they've got to fix that foot matchup first and foremost, because this is a team you should be beating, and if they're the gatekeepers and you're losing to them, which side of the gate are you on?
Yeah.
So the M80 loss I can excuse. Like you will get freak losses like that. And maybe it was just a bad day. Those can happen. We saw it happen with NRG, and clearly they were fine. And their open one performance was pretty good. They took SSG to 7, and after that freak foot loss, they had some good wins. I think they ripped off pretty much like 10 of 12 or something, maybe 14 of 16 over their next few series in open one. So I have more faith than you guys that they'll be back. Maybe I should have moved them a little lower than this because they looked really bad, to be fair. Like, if you were watching, this team had absolutely nothing going for them, and their defense especially was really concerning. Like, Foot can be a high-powered offense. Don't let them score 4 goals a game if you want to win. Generally a good idea.
Yeah.
Ask Lotusate about that. So I guess they'll be back. I mean, I hope for the sake of my rankings they'll be back. The major is probably too far out of reach with how good NA's top 4 look right now. But I think they will probably be fine. Maybe, Geo was right that a roster move could be... Was it Geo who said this? Roster move could be coming. It's time to dismantle this core.
Yeah.
Because I agree. Though for Justin, this might be... If that happens, that might be his last chance on a real top team. Because I don't know if you can see that much upside for him. I think this is kind of ceiling equals floor for Justin right now.
Yeah.
All right. Geo, we've got Food Esports here. Pyro said that this is the team that is the gatekeeper, and we've both got them. We've got Gen G below the gate. So talk to me about the gate then. Talk to me about Food. How much did they impress you this weekend? You got them moving up 1.
Yeah. Well, if in their open 1 result they took down Gen G, when they honestly weren't even in that bad of a form, in regional 1.
Yeah.
And then they swept Shuffles Kittens, which is that you should be doing that, and they did. And then they lose to SSG, who looked really hot, and then they lost to Shopify, which is, no hate to Foot, but I don't really see them taking down either of those teams. And then in Open 2, they got swept by Space Station, which I don't think looked as good this regional. And then they lost to NRG, and it's like no hate there, but what are you gonna do? Especially with the form that NRG was on this weekend. But yeah, for Foot, the reason why I have them here is I think they're beating the teams that they should be beating, but they're not beating any of the teams above them, except for that one Gen G win. But you're not going to convince me with beating the team that was some people had like tied with you. Doing that once, you're not going to convince me there. So, unfortunately for Foot, they have not shown me anything to say, oh, we can punch up. You know what I mean? They've not shown me anything like that. So that's why I have them at 16.
Yeah, I think for me, this is the and I said this last week. Whatever. I said this last rankings. This is the first team that I actually felt bad I couldn't include in the top 20. Normally, when you go as far down as 20, it's like, okay, there's several stains against your record. I can't put you guys in the top 20. But with Foot last time, it was like, man, like they're very comfortably 21st, and I can't believe they're not going to be able to sneak into this ranking. Uh, so I'm glad to bump them up to 16 here. I do agree with Pyro that they're pretty clearly the gate right now. I thought they would be able to challenge Space Station a little bit closer. I predicted that series to go 5. It did not. It was sloppy enough that it looked like it could have, but yeah, it doesn't look like they have the ability to swing up just yet. But if they find it in time, they're at least points wise in a phenomenal spot. If they take one upset or get like one lucky break in a bracket, suddenly they're booking their tickets, and I don't think that's where many people had them coming into this, maybe even this weekend. Like, yes, they were ranked 6th or tied 6th in points after Open 1, but I mean, you still had a lot of people like, casters ranking them 8th, and, just as Pyro mentioned, they've been kind of slept on and disrespected, and I don't hear many people talking about them. It's more of a, oh, this team lost a Foot, rather than, oh yeah, Foot's at least, showing up, beating the teams that they should beat, and, putting themselves in a good spot. So, yeah, curious to see what they do this next weekend. But for now, I got them jumping up to number 16. All right, let's jump into 15 then. We got 2 South American teams, and then we got another Man City Esports. We'll start over in Europe. Geo, talk to me about this Man City squad.
Man City, I think, are a good team. However, man, I don't like using this excuse, but they've gotten very unlucky with their brackets. The reason why I have them rated above Foot is basically I kind of rank them the same, but the difference between Foot and Man City is they've shown life in beating the teams that are above them. But unfortunately, they haven't. But they've shown a lot more life than Foot has, so that's why I rank them very similarly, and that's why I have them like one above.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then Pyro, you got Team Secret the highest out of all of us. No movement, but you've also already got them at 15. So talk to me with what you saw out of them this last weekend.
I'll tell you, man. Watching Sam with the EU days over is kind of a wind down.
Mm-hmm.
But I was amped up and ready to say some things about this team before that Furious series, man. I was ready to drop them out of my rankings entirely. I'm still ready to start the Amethyst conversations, by the way. We will wait for these two teams to play each other.
That's true.
But then they beat Furia 4-1. Like, I literally saw Furia go up 3-0 in game 1. I turned the stream off, grabbed something to eat, and I come back, and Secret not only 4-1 that series, they won that first game in
It's
regulation.
the Blue Jackets versus Lightning almost, dude.
Yeah, it was insane. Which kind of confirms my suspicions that I had after Open 1, which is that this team is more or less built to beat Furia, and not much else. Is that sustainable? Usually not. We've seen it kind of with some teams in the past. I'm kind of blanking on them, but you will see a lot of teams in regions where you have one dominant power kind of be structured to beat them and no one else. Vitality was structured last year to beat KC and no one else, and then they didn't beat KC, and then we were kind of wondering, what's this team for?
You had one job.
Yeah. I don't know about Secret. I'm not super convinced. Clearly, I'm convinced enough to keep them at 15. I don't know. I gotta see something. That's like losing the MIBR multiple times, getting taken to Game 5 by Folly Lagley in Sec in the year 2026 is absolutely insane. The bar in Sam is a little lower, or I guess probably a little higher. Like, you can play series like that, but if you're not consistently making everything look easy except against the top 2 teams, if you're willing to accept that MIBR is really this good, which they might be, getting like clean swept by them is really embarrassing. And Grand Finals was better, but they've really got to step up. I mean, no matter what happens, if they do miss out on one of the top 2 spots, they'll be fine in the LCQ for Worlds most likely. But this is a team with enough talent and enough of their core got really good results last season on LAN, that for them to struggle this much against pretty much everyone besides the best team in the region is really puzzling and simultaneously very concerning.
Yeah. I'll touch on Secret for a second as well. I know I got MIBR here. You said that if this will be in a good spot for LCQ. If you look at the groups, OCE1 actually could make it out of top 8.
That's true.
Maybe a little bit easier than both Sam teams.
isn't sandbagged by their second seed. So
Exactly.
hypothetically,
They
if
could lose
Sam
that.
2 especially, I was going to say this later, but I have a feeling this is going to be a lot like a 22-23 Sam season where their land results will be pretty mediocre and they have 3 teams that are all
Hmm.
kind of jostling for position, but they all end up being world number 12 thereabouts. So
Yeah.
that's the vibe I get.
I can see that, but honestly, after Major 1, I could also very much see them not even being the active holders of the LCQ. So we'll see
Yeah.
how groups pan out based on seedings, but they've if Secret aren't there to defend their own spot at a major, they've got to really rely on their region mates to do so. And at least based on what I'm seeing so far, like I mean, Furia hasn't really impressed me this off season. Um, MIBR beating them, or actually no, MIBR didn't beat them. Secret beating them. Really, just honestly, it might be the whole minor region like slowly going down, down, and down thing. But I just with how last season ended for South America, and now you're getting picked apart by a team with Astramic and Sad, who did not make lands last year. Like those were 2 players that were losing to the players who made lands, and the players who made lands were not doing so hot. So South America, they really got to show up at this next major, and if they don't, like they're just going to continue to get pushed down and down and down in groups.
Mhm.
I'll get to Furia in a bit, obviously, but at least for MIBR, they move up forward because they are able to take a regional win. Somehow they're leading South America in points. I don't know who had that on their bingo card when these rosters were announced, but here we are. Yeah, you're in a world where you really got to prove it. But I'm hard pressed to see it. Congrats for winning the regional. I don't want to put any shade on that accomplishment. But yeah, South America's got some work to do, and yeah, I'm guessing both of you guys have MIPR on your list at some point. So I think I'm the
Yes.
lowest on Sam so far, and we'll see if that continues to pan out. But yeah, I similar to how Geo saying that he pays attention mostly to the land results, and it's kind of difficult to rank those minor region teams until we actually see them play each other on land. It's like I'm really feeling that way, but everything they're doing is just pushing themselves further down until I see a result on land that really backs up that hey, maybe I was too harsh. So, all right, number 14, R8 Magnifico
Oh,
and Furia. All right, Geo, talk to me about Furia then.
Um,
-7.
yeah, 7.
yeah. All right.
No, it's
I
defendable. It's defendable.
yeah. I was disappointed with Furia at Worlds. But I was like, all right, new season. It's okay, whatever. They make a roster change and a coaching change, I believe. So I was like, all right, let's see what they got. And then they're losing to Secret in the semifinals. So I I'm not very confident with Fury. I'm not very confident with Sam right now. That's why I have them here. It's just I don't know. You make a roster change and a coaching change, and you do worse than you were doing last season.
And you lose to the team
So
that you ditched everyone from. Like,
yeah.
yep,
So
They
I
lost to
don't
their academy roster, dude.
exactly.
know. Seriously, like I don't know. I'm not trying to disrespect Furia, but I'm not convinced at all that we will see a performance from them similar to like 2024. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like 2024, they were looking great. And it just seems like it's been going downhill since then.
Yep.
So
All right. I'll stay in the minor region train of thought then and talk about R8. They technically move up 3 because I had Rock at, I guess it would be 17 in my post kickoff rankings. This team made a roster change in the pseudo transfer window, as a good many teams did. Especially in MENA, like every single team made a roster change except for one,
All but
and
3, which
of course
was
the two.
awesome. That
Yes.
was so cool.
um, but honestly, it looks like they made the right one, especially after watching that Twisted Minds versus Sleeping series in Open 1. Like, Mohamed was the one slotting absolutely everything, and to see him join against or join up with Abdullah and Ghazi, definitely two of the highlights of that RLEsports roster at Worlds. This is a very strong contender for MENA 3 in my eyes. and I think they'll stay there all season. This is the team that it's like I'm pretty confident right now saying like maybe it's not a guarantee, like anything can really happen throughout the season, but these guys are looking phenomenal because I fully trust Falcons and Twisted Minds to earn their region and LCQ spot as opposed to what we were just talking about in South America. So definitely going to keep these guys on my radar throughout the entire year. Curious to see if they can actually take some wins. I feel like by the end of the season, they will beat at least one of Twisted Minds or Falcons because that tends to happen in Split 2. We see the best teams take a regional off and just slip up somewhere. So would not be surprised to see it, especially given how talented all these players are. And I know Pyro mentioned that they didn't beat anybody this last weekend, but based on at least what 2/3 of that roster has done at Worlds, and based on what I've seen about the new guy they brought in, I'm willing to trust the process, even if they're not racking any quality wins and just taking some played them close trophies. So
Don't sleep on Yazid, man. I don't know what to tell you. We'll see what sleeping does later. I have Magnifico at 14, which is pretty high, but if you can't tell, I really don't rate anybody at 15 and below, really 14 below, that highly.
Mm-hmm.
Magnifico, I mean, I said it on the podcast last season, so I'm holding myself to this standard, that there is no team other than Carmine Core where you can take 3-4 games off of them and immediately be considered one of the best teams in the world. And obviously, it's a little early to say that for Magnifico, and it probably was just Tox making sure that his one spot away from land gimmick is repeated for another split. But beating KC and NAP back-to-back, the two best teams in Europe, we thought coming into this event, in groups, and then playing Vitality like fairly close. Like they leveled down a little bit, but that is very impressive. And you look at their open one, they took Gentlemates to game 7, and this is a Gentlemates team that improved in form, more on them later, this event as well. So besides for that Gentle Bench loss, which is honestly now a bit of a head scratcher considering how these two teams have evolved, this team has had some pretty good results. The troubling thing about EU is that you kind of need to be beating these top 4 teams consistently to even have a semblance. I mean, that's how any major region goes. You need to be beating the top 4 teams to have a chance at the major. But they look pretty good. I think the talent level on this roster is pretty low. The ceilings, these are all like high floor, except for Atomic. Atomic's a bit of a weird player, but Rizzios and Tox, very much both high ceiling. Oh my gosh, high floor, low ceiling type players. Can they move up much more from this? Probably not. They will probably just end up moving down because they're unlikely to repeat this performance again. Even if they play at the same skill level, they're not going to have the chance to play KC in groups when KC is feeling a little rusty. But I'm impressed. It was a good result. And maybe they'll surprise us. Maybe they'll give it a run this time. We'll see.
Yeah, I remember like Geo and I were messaging the day of the E regional. We're like, oh, we're excited for this NIP versus KC groups matchup, and then we're like, ha, 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 ha. Oh, wait, they beat both teams.
Yeah.
So
NIP dodged KC in groups, and they still lose.
Yep.
Maybe just meant to be. I don't know. I mean, EU is looking a little questionable right now. There's a lot of things left to be determined. So who knows?
Absolutely. We'll have plenty to talk about in Europe as we get pretty close to the range of rankings that we're getting to. But let's jump into number 13. We got our last Man City Esports. I've got them highest, actually. And then we've got an MIBR and a wild card. We'll start low and then we'll work high. We'll start with Man City and then get to the more exciting pick. Yeah, these I know it was talked about on Chalkcast. I think they said that you just got to beat one of those teams in reference to Carmine Core and Gentlemates, and I don't really hold it against them that they lose to Gentlemates and Carmine Core, especially considering it was Carmine Core and 7 that got pushed to the lower bracket, and I guess that's just who you're going to get eliminated by because they're still destined to win the second open and anything in early season and the RLCS. So yeah, the really only stain on their record is getting reverse swept by Novo. That was a series that at the time I was like, oh yeah, Novo's back, and then Open 2 happened, and I was like, maybe I was a little bit wrong. Maybe Man City's there was more of a choke than Novo proving how much they deserve to be in that spot instead. So they're continuing to hold form. Curious to see what they do in this next event, despite the fact that they're pretty far behind. I think Geekay going on that run to the finals that felt almost inexplicable, right? Where it's like, okay, you guys lose to Gentlemates. Like, I didn't think they were in great form most of the weekend, but then they roll through Ninja Pajamas and Vitality and make the finals. And it's like, okay, well, that basically kind of screws anybody who was hoping to sneak into the major over them. I feel like Man City could beat Geekay on the right day, but now that you've got 2 bracket places to overcome, it's looking a lot more difficult. So we'll see what they can do. Not impossible, difficult situation. But at least in terms of skill level, they move up to number 13 for me. Pyro, we'll go to you next with MIBR. You've got this as your second South American team. I'm assuming still below Furia.
Yeah, and I mean they're only moving up one. But that's more of a testament to how much I believed in this team last week than how good I think they played this week, because this team looks really good right now. I mean, their only loss the entire split is to Furia in the Open 1 Grand Finals. They've made Team Secret look silly like 4 times throughout this whole split. They've had some pretty tough brackets. They've been dealing with Amethyst pretty comfortably, which is like usually a good sign. The kind of a lot of Sam's like 5 through 8, 5 through 12 teams they've had no problem dealing with, and they look really solid. I mean, the talent is always a bit of a question mark. Like, they're still rolling up with Sad, Astramic, and Razebull in 2026, which is a pretty washed roster, but clearly they're playing very well. So there's not too much to say besides hopefully they can continue to play at this level. I mean, I said this about a lot of teams already, but their ceiling seems pretty low just because the talent level. But I mean, again, if they keep playing like this, they could surprise somebody. And if this is a 22-23 season, somebody's got to replace that Team Secret top 4. Maybe
That's
it's
true.
them,
That's
just
true.
to say. They're in the position for it. So
Yep. All right, and then
All right, my turn.
yeah, you got wild card at 13
Yeah.
still. I guess that's no movement from last
You
week,
didn't-
so you still had the respect on them
Yeah.
even after the regional loss.
Yeah, I mean they bounced back really, really well. Let me pull it up real quick on Wikipedia so I know that I'm not lying to you
I can
guys
do
here.
the same.
All right, wild card goes 6-0 in the group stage. They get a FF, which is what it is. Yeah, I mean you can't fault them for that, right?
Boom, boom, boom.
You just have to play what's in front of you.
make them play.
They 4-0 their semifinal match, and then they 4-1 Power.
Yeah, wait, what is this forfeit in the upper AFL? I forgot that happened.
Yeah, I don't know. But
Yeah, there was just
that's
some
not
random
something
footage.
I'm gonna take away from Wildcard.
Exactly.
Be like, yeah, it's your fault that the other team didn't show up.
Too much
Unless Torsauce is like, I don't know, broke into one of their players' house and then like smashed their PC or something like that.
No, that only happened with LJ last year.
True. Yeah, I mean, oh my, sorry, you just reminded me of that, and I remembered Alpha kept freaking out, being like, "We beat Ultimates." My bad. That was.
Yep.
But yeah, back onto Wildcard here. I think Wildcard is. I think they're. I genuinely don't think any better org could have picked him up because of the name, because they are the biggest wild card, I think, in the scene right now. When they get onto LAN, you are either gonna have them getting 0-3'd by the SSA team, or they're sweeping Carmine Corp. Their ceiling and floor, I think, is the biggest difference that we've had, right? Maybe for an RLCS team ever, other than maybe like Joria's in the Swiss when he was on M80 or something
That
like
was
that.
wild.
But I don't know, man. Wildcard, it seems like every time they get to LAN, for me at least, they always have one thing that's like, oh, okay. And then they usually fall off. However, we saw them at Worlds and they did the, oh, okay. And then they actually followed through with it. And if you watch the Geekay and the Falcon series, these were not like beatings that they took, right?
Mm-hmm.
They were holding their own. The series score is going to say one thing, but if you look back in the games, obviously that's 4 months ago.
You look into your heart.
No, seriously. Like, I'm saying, I don't know. I'm also a fan of Torsauce, fellow KBM player. But
yeah, represent.
Man, it's also crazy. Torsauce has been doing this since season 3, and he's making like the best results he ever has. So
Yep.
I don't know.
Yeah, and I will say as well, the format also is conducive to some more of these underdog teams getting into the top 8, because Swiss is an underdog killer. Because if you have to
Yeah.
win 3 matches against teams that are supposed to be your same record, your same skill level, if you're not good enough, you're going to end up losing. And that's why Torsauce went 2 and 3 so many times, but he only had to win 2 matches at Worlds, and he
That's
only
true.
really has to win 2 matches here to make top 8 most likely. So
Yep.
it's very doable for wildcard and a lot of these underdog teams if they just pull off one upset to make it into top 8.
Mm-hmm.
which I think they're very, very doable of.
This
Yeah,
is why
like,
I love
think,
group stages, by the way. Like,
yeah, I love group stage so much. Like, once I saw that we were getting the groups back, dude, I was so happy. Like, even right now, I'm grinning ear to ear about it. Like, I'm thinking about the winter major, the 21-22 winter major. I feel like this lane is gonna have kind of similar vibes to that because now we have a really strong NA, little weaker EU. But I don't know. I'm very excited about where this is gonna go. But I am confident in wildcard that uh, they can show up when needed. I think it's honestly a 50-50 chance, and that's why I have them where I do. And also, uh, OC is historically good against Sam, uh, so that's why I have them above Furia and Team Secret.
Nice, nice.
And I also think that like on LAN, I think that they could beat Foot and Man City. Like I'm looking at all the teams I have below them, and I'm
Those are
delusional
winnable.
enough to think that yeah, Wildcard could beat them.
Those are
So
winnable. All right, let's jump into number 12. I knew it. I
nice of
knew we
you,
were
man.
gonna get a South America row. Okay.
yeah, there we go.
We've got the MIBR, which is the odd one out. Gio, I'll let you talk about them first.
MIBR. I mean, new season, and they're the ones that's been showing up the most consistently. And I think consistency is a lot right now in RLCS. Like you have Novo who's making top 6, and then they're not making a regional, right? So I think there are a lot of teams that have consistency issues, and so that's why I have Made in Brazil above Furia and Team Secret, is because like honestly I think that Furia and Team Secret probably have higher ceilings, but I think MIBR is just more consistent. Which, when you're power ranking teams, I don't think you're going only based off their ceiling, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think MIBR's floor is also very high.
All right. Yeah. I mean, they haven't taken any weird losses. They get the most recent regional win. It's definitely not out of the question. Pyro, we both got Furia still a little bit ahead of MIBR despite the points rankings, but you've got them a lot closer than I do. Talk to me about that.
Yeah. So, I mean, we were seeing EU and NA kind of the middle of the pack looked really out of this weekend, so I was ready to move Furia up. And then they went and lost to Secret, a team that they had a 25-1 record against heading into that series. What the heck, man?
Yeah,
Like,
I
you
forgot about
can't
that too.
be dropping series like that, and it puts their major qualification at a little bit of risk. They're still the best team in the region. They still have the most talent in the region, and their peak on LAN is undoubtedly higher than anybody else here. But you can't be losing series like that, and you can't be losing to Secret. Um, they might not be the second best team in SAM anymore, and if they're playing against MIBR, I mean
They're
they had the
definitely not.
one win, and that's all the times they've played. So we'll see how they do on LAN. Don't perform like that again. You can't afford series like that in minor regions. It's just not tenable for trying to prove that you can create a track record of success later on. A good LAN performance can help change the narrative there, but Sam looks pretty weak right now, and Furia being mediocre is not helping that.
Yeah, I don't really have much of an explanation for that loss to Secret. It doesn't compute in my head. It doesn't make any sense. Like,
It wasn't even close.
yeah, you said 25-1. I completely forgot that, and I barely like. Maybe this is harsh. I barely even count the one because Lost was like only half in that
Yeah, he was
series, like from an
disconnecting.
internet
So if
perspective.
you discount that, it's like a 25
You've
series win
never,
streak spanning
yeah,
for like 5 years.
and it's like how it again the academy roster, like, yeah, I don't get it.
It's insanity.
But I'm gonna chalk that up to, and especially considering like I feel like I've kind of learned my lesson sometimes, where it's like I would feel like I was too harsh, and I know we'll talk about this later. I feel like I was too harsh on some teams for having a bad open one. Maybe this is just their, you lost one series completely out of the ordinary, and you bounce back next event. So we'll see. But yeah, especially considering how close I consider this 5 through 11 range, which I'm not surprised, but
things are
happy
about to get really interesting.
we all have the
things are
same
about
5
to get
through
really
11.
interesting.
I think for me specifically, 7 through 11 was just awful.
Okay. We'll see if we have
it was
similar
rough,
5 and 6s then.
but this should be fun. This should be fun.
But yeah, I was telling Sydney, I was like, there's, all of these teams deserve to be ranked ninth. Like,
Yes.
Yeah.
aside from maybe like
Yes.
5 and 6, but like all of these teams deserve to be ranked ninth.
Don't
And
do the
so
6,
that
7
means
hit
I'm rating
motion,
someone
please.
too high and I'm rating somebody too low. But technically, they have to be separated. I can't do like 9.1, 9.2, 9.3.
Mm-hmm.
So
All right.
Yeah.
Bring out your dead.
let's get into number 11. Two
Oh,
ninjas
okay.
and a Geekay.
Okay.
All right. Odd one out. Geo, you're first.
Yeah. EK, they're such a weird team. They're such a weird team. Like, and this is coming from someone who's a EK fan. All right, shout out Joyo's mom. All right.
Yep.
Um, I this team is so weird. They they go 9th through 12th. To be fair, they lost to Gentlemates, right? And then they have a great run. Um, this what was it, 2 weekends ago?
Mm-hmm.
Where
Yep.
they
I
went
just say
through. They
last week
beat
for everything.
yeah, they beat Nip and Vitality, both great wins. They beat Nip, right? I'm not
Yep, they did.
stupid. Okay, yeah. But I need to see more because historically speaking, uh, Appjack and Joyo can be pretty inconsistent players, and I just need to see him. I need to see more.
Mm-hmm.
I think they have the potential to be really good if they're on their game and they figure everything out, but it's just a consistency worry for me.
Yeah. All right. All right. I'll start us off on the news to pajamas train. Pyro, we both got him moving down 4.
Yes.
And yeah, this is, they should be ranked higher than this. But then again, here they are at 11 because somebody's got to be, right? I mean, they made a finals. They took Carmine Court at game 7. Man, they should have won that first open. Then we're having a different conversation. They were up 3-1 in that series. But then they lose to Redacted. And then since then, they've lost to Magnifico and now Geekay. And I'm just. It didn't feel the same. It didn't feel exactly the same. So yeah, I think they bounce back next weekend. And it feels weird to then have Geekay above them. Um,
Yeah.
but they lost, a large reason why they propelled themselves up in the rankings because they were able to take quality wins, and then they proceeded to lose to a team that I know, Magnifico had a good weekend, but I still don't think you should be losing to that team. And then you lose to Geekay, which is like a head-to-head matchup I had to keep then just below them. So yeah, obviously head-to-head can't come into play with every single series. You're gonna have some, circle of suck, but it's at least in this case it kind of played out that way for me. But what's got them moving down 4 for you?
Yeah, so this is just kind of the EU bundle of mid and also SSG. Is this kind of stand? I mean, it's kind of the same reason you said. Like, it's hard. They should be higher, and they did have a very good open one. But I mean, GK does not really look that good despite their grand finals appearance, and they took a pretty comfortable loss, losing to Magnifico, not great. And that's really it. Like, there's so much you can do with this range. And it's gonna be interesting to see how everyone else moves them. I'm surprised that you agreed with me here. I thought this was gonna be a more controversial take, especially seeing what I've seen on Reddit.
I mean, it might be.
But
It might be.
it might be, yeah. But
I mean, I'm not getting super mad about it.
falling,
Like-
resting on my laurels here, I do think that this team is a little bit below where the rest of this kind of EU. I'll say EU 2 through 3. They're below General Lights and Vitality. I don't think they're. I think they're pretty close to GK. And clearly they can be very good, and they beat Vitality comfortably in open one, and that made me really doubt this placement because I really rate that win.
Yeah.
And they looked really good in open one, and they swept GK in open one, but then they do this, and until I think open 3 will give us some more data, we can maybe break the tie there on who's better, and they'll probably end up moving up again, but. I guess this is really the only. I mean, this isn't the only place you can put them. This is where I felt this is the most convincing argument for 11 for me.
Yeah.
And that's all I can say.
All right. Yep. I definitely
Pulling
feel
teeth.
that. As we get to the top 10, we're definitely going to have some blue. I'll probably start us off because I've already spoiled it. I'm going to have Geekay here.
Oh.
I'm going to break the sandwich rule. Well, it's technically not a sandwich because Gio's on the end. But yeah, we both got Geekay here then. But yeah, as I'm doing the rankings, it comes down to the head-to-head, and especially considering most recently we had Ninjas and Geekay in the bracket, and it went to Geekay. I've got him here at 10. I didn't move him down too far for losing the series that they lost in Open 1, especially because that was a difficult strength of schedule. And I guess I'm not moving them up because it doesn't make sense to me the fact that they won the series that they did. Maybe that's not giving them enough
Yeah.
credit. But it just baffles me. Like I don't understand. I don't understand EU, and I hope I'm not the only one because what is happening over there?
I don't think EU gets EU.
Yeah. Um. So yeah, I've got Kike holding steady. I guess I don't know. I was not impressed on Friday and Saturday, and suddenly they're in a finals. So what do I know? But I guess it's open three tell all, and we'll see what seeds these teams all get for the major. Dolphin
Yeah.
went on his whole victory lap last time because he had Ninja Pajamas over. I think he was like maybe the only one, or maybe a couple of people had Ninjas over Geekay, and that didn't pan out right for that time. But I guess, I mean, at least two of us here have Geekay over Ninjas yet again. So who the heck knows anymore? It's EU. It's back to being unpredictable EU, aside from the best
Yeah.
team being dominant.
And I'll add.
Yeah.
So if you done?
No, yeah. Close our thoughts on Geekay.
Okay. Yeah. I wasn't convinced by the performance on Sunday either. Like the NIP win was good. Vitality. We'll get to them. Trust me, we will. But I wanted to move them up. That's kind of more the reason. I really wanted to keep NIP at 10 and keep GK at 11, but they beat two like top 4 EU teams. You got to move them up.
Yeah.
So I'll give them a pity move to 10. This team is so weird. Like I still trust Appjack. Joyo. If you don't know my thoughts on him, I really do not think he's that good anymore. But now there's a little bit of a Seiko question, and this is weird to say after they just made the grand finals of a regional, but this team looks weird. I really don't trust them to get anything beyond top 8 at LAN. Like, it is just an unconvincing performance, and every time they win, it's like, oh my god, how do they win that series? And every time they lose, they get clean swept. I mean, Gentlemates made them look really silly, so this is where I put them. I'm content with one spot above NIP.
Yeah. All right, and then Geo, you've got Space Station moving down 5 spots. They had a difficult weekend, losing to Dignitas twice. Talk to me about them.
Dude, I love Space Station and I love this roster so much, and I'm so scared for their future. I genuinely think that Open 3 could honestly decide their entire season. Um, I think if they make major and they have and I think if they bounce back in Open 3, then I think we are good. And I think if they don't look great in Open 3 and they miss major, then I think they're screwed for the rest of the season if they don't make a roster change. And it's kind of the same vibes of NRG when they were going on, like the old NRG, with Squishy, Justin, and Garrett when they were kind of on the down trend, which is weird because SSG has not been together.
Yeah.
That's the closest thing I can equate it to right now. I think it's so bad for such a young roster. I'm still consider this a young roster. I know Chronic's 19 now, but whatever. I think it's so bad for a roster like that going from what is it?
Top 4 in the at least major regions. Yeah.
And making the finals to now losing to Dignitas twice, which is no shade on Dignitas. I think they played great, but that can really mess up your mental. And, I don't know. Yeah, I think Open 3 is going to be a big decider for them. And as a fan of NA, as a fan of SSG, I know how good this team can be. We've seen it. I really hope they can figure it out.
Yeah.
But that's why I have them at 10, because I think that they're kind of looking down two paths right now. I know you guys know the image where like one's super nice and stuff, and then the other's like a dark mansion or something like that. But that's kind of how I feel where SSG is right now.
All right. Let's see if we continue the SSG conversation. For some reason, I feel like
I might agree here.
Oh no, we
Oh,
are.
never mind.
I'm really okay. I thought I
Huh.
had this the other way. Whoops. I know my rankings, guys. Trust me. I'll continue the SSG conversation then. I'm a little bit less worried. That being said, I can't really depend. I can't defend what they put on the pitch this weekend. I can't. A lot of other teams could, clearly, but yeah, it just I don't know how you lose to Dignitas twice, and it's not worth completely crashing out over because they're still in a fine spot. You're still in a major position. Everybody still thinks that you're the fourth best team in North America. Like nobody's talking about Foot in general. Everyone's watching Gen G crash out even worse than you, and so there's not really a oh yeah, this team could really swing up and take their fourth spot. Now like it's a pretty comfortable spot as long as they take care of business. And at least the copium angle tells me that this was a wake up call and they're going to go take care of business. I talk about head to head all the time. I know Space Station beat Vitality, but I'm kind of basing this off the fact, and it's coming back to me now why I ranked them lower. It's coming back to me now where it was like, yes, that team beat Vitality. This didn't look like that team. So if they look better in Open 3 and they don't lose to Dignitas twice, and they're maybe only losing to the teams they should be and like taking a couple quality wins, like they handle Foot even though it's a shaky series. Let's say you beat a Gen G here, maybe even beat a Redacted or at least play him close. Then I'll probably bump you over Vitality, especially given how Vitality's looking. But yeah, at least it's a warning sign. It's a wake up call. Please don't get bracketed. It's kind of your fault at this point. You can't claim 2024 split 1 like we had the Gen G problem. Like you've at least done it to yourself this open. Use it as wake up call. Get better. And also with this whole like hope we don't get a bad bracket. You've shown that you can beat Rebellion. Go out there and do it. Like take a win off of a team. Don't just settle for being fourth. That being said, don't get the NA2 seed because I don't want to be in that group at all. So maybe that was just the
What's
angle.
the group again with NA2?
EU1 MENA 2, I think.
Death.
So yeah, maybe it was just a big brain play to avoid even being close to the NA2
welcome to the
seed.
buzzsaw. Imagine if Redacted gets that group. Oh, it's gonna be such a bummer.
No. The way that group plays out, yes, it's Carmine. Yes, it's Rebellion. So unfortunately, First Killer will not be getting first in that group. But First Killer is known for taking out Monkey Moon, and so it's MENA 2. We'll see what happens. I can see all those teams.
When has he ever lost to MENA except for all the times he's lost to MENA?
Exactly.
I'm gonna be honest. I think if this might be a hot take, all right, but I think if NRG end up being the NA2 seed,
KC goes.
I see her.
No.
I see a real chance where KC doesn't make the job. I'm just saying, man.
Is.
I don't know.
There genuinely is.
No, that's not rage bait. Like,
I know.
Oh my god.
I could see KC having a slow start, losing to MENA 2 if that's their first matchup.
Yep. And then NRG are hot.
Yeah, if all the teams go 2-1 and then it's a tiebreaker thing. Like I could see that being that group. That would be wild.
KC is not as strong this season as they were last season, but they're still really good.
Yes.
They're still very good, but I don't know. I
need the overreaction for a roster change.
We'll look at RAE later, I think, because I see you have the tab pulled up, Martian.
I do.
The top 3 are all very close right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay,
I think.
Can I take the Vitality?
Yeah.
Rant, sorry, because.
Can I say one more thing?
Oh yeah,
sorry. Can I say one more thing about Carmine Corp? No, you're good. I think the reason why Carmine Corp looks so good at the kickoff LAN, and this is not an excuse, all right, this is not their fault. I think NA teams are just like scared of them.
Specifically one NA team.
Yeah, specifically one NA team.
One man.
But I think that is also kind of like a trickle down effect where it scares the rest of NA, other than like NRG.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't really beat them either. They just avoided them when they needed to.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Not trying to devalue K-Corp's accomplishments at all, but
I
think it's okay. I think like MENA 2, whoever it is, could definitely take down Carmine Corp, and I think NA2, as long as it's not Shopify, could take them down. Like I think Redacted on their day could. Like if all of them are playing crazy. What is that crazy? Is that crazy to say? Like if we're getting talk playing out of his mind.
I think it's a little crazy.
I don't know. Magnifico just beat him.
Yeah, but EU is its own beast.
I don't know.
Okay.
Here, rant about Vitality.
I think I did this last time, but I'm going to keep doing it as long as I have to. Because I want this team at 30. I do not want them anywhere near my top 20 list. This is the most pathetic waste of talent I have seen since they did the same thing last season. I do not know what more needs to be done. Like, Stizzy and Zen play the exact same role in the field, and they just end up tripping over each other. This team is, I think they win 80% of their matches on Friday and Saturday, and over the past 2 seasons, they've won 40% on Sunday. Granted, I think 8 of the 9 that they lost were against Dig and KC, which is its own thing.
Still, Dig. Come on.
Still, yeah, and this, I mean, it's ridiculous. You're losing to GK in this form? Like, they didn't even look that good. They were just kind of winning by default.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, what is Vitality doing, man? Exotic is kind of, I mean, we've all been asking questions for about a year now. Stizzy, again, he just plays the same role as Zen. This team is not they do not present a convincing front, and I think they're still probably going to elevate on land. That's why I have them still at 9. But, like, come on, man. The fact that this team hasn't won an event in over a year is absurd. They have no business being this bad. They should have easily made the grand finals. And they even struggled against Magnifico a little bit. And granted, Magnifico were playing well, but still, I don't know. It's just exhausting to see this happen over and over again. And unlike the SSG situation last season, I'm not a fan of this team. I am perfectly happy to see this happen. But it's pretty sad to see Zen's career get wasted like FK's is when stuff like this keeps happening.
Yeah.
I think we need to have a genuine... I know this is like kind of a joke, but I think we need to have a genuine, real conversation about the fact that Zen has not done anything without Pharah. I think that is a like legit conversation that needs to be had at some point.
Conversations,
like,
yeah. Last
I'm
time,
not saying... Oh, man.
Yeah. Last time Vitality won an event, Fairy Peak was the coach. Alpha 54 was on the roster. Rise was on Carmine Core.
Yeah. It's like... And I'm not sitting here saying that Zen is bad. I'm not saying... I still think he's a great player. But if you... he's surrounded by good players. He's surrounded by good players last season. He was surrounded by good players this season. Even if they're not like the number 1 team in Europe, the fact that you have not done anything... I'm saying not done anything for Vitality standards. Like, you haven't made... I think you made 1 grand final last season.
They made 2.
They made 2.
They made 2.
They made 2.
And Dig
I can't even
blocked
say
them
that
from
with a straight
another
face.
2 or 3.
But that goes to show on like how much, like, even if they are making grand finals, they're not convincing at all. They don't look... For the past 2 seasons, they haven't looked like a team that can do things, I guess.
Last time they won a final.
Yeah, I mean, they
BDS still existed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know where the elevation is. Like, again, this is a team that we've seen last year. They did so much better on land than they did online. Like, it was night and day.
But when it went to Champ Sunday,
Champ Sunday, yeah. I mean, that was its own thing because I think they lost to Fear. They were just 2 freak losses. I don't know if you can call Dig a freak loss. And then Worlds was, again, it's so frustrating.
Is it a freak loss if it keeps happening?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, this team can be
it was
so
4-1,
good.
right? Like, it was not close on land.
I mean, this KC is very, very good. They are not the unstoppable force that they were last season.
Yeah.
There is no reason that this team should not win at least 1 regional this year, but they do not look to be informed to do that at all.
Yeah.
Vitality should be... I'm gonna say that their split is a failure. If they have a failure split, if they're not winning at least 1 open,
they've got 1 chance left. Technically a major to recover that as well, but
I have no faith in a major.
Vitality's never winning in Boston.
But it's Zen at Boston, guys. Historically speaking, like shut up.
23 repeats, bro. I swear.
Yeah, the difference is Zen had Redosin. All right, and
that's true. Maybe they pick him up. Maybe that's where maybe Stizzy
genuinely might make the team better, and I'm not even sure. I genuinely think low key, a Zen, Rado, and Exotic would probably be better than Zen, Stizzy. Like on land at least. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like I think, and then probably the last thing for Vitality because we still have another.
We've got 2 people to talk about Vitality still.
Yeah. But this is kind of it's a lot like FK LJ, where Zen and Stizzy overlap in how they want to play the game a lot and what role they're supposed to play a lot, to the point where the team loses a lot of structure and Exotic is past his prime. So there's not too much going there. And just like FK and LJ really, like, even when LJ's playing well, it's usually individual pop-off moments, and then he's kind of a nothing, and he has no influence in the rotation at all. Um, Zen and Sizzy are just kind of jostling for control of what to do, and Zen is winning, but the team is not.
Yep. Yep. All right. Let's touch on Gentlemates pretty quickly. You've got them. I guess you've got them as EU4 then, Geo.
Yeah, I do. Ugh. They are, and I don't like using this word because it has, like, people use it to mean negative. All right, but they are kind of the definition of mid when it comes to like where the European teams are right now. At least like the land teams, right?
Yeah.
They lost to Carmine Corp in the group stage in Open 1. There's not much you can do there. They beat Magnifico, then they lose to Vitality, and then in Open 2, what did they do? They lost to Man City in Group B. No, I lied. I'm lying for attention. Apparently, they beat them. I read it wrong. They beat Geekay, and yeah, you can say, oh, Geekay went on to make the grand finals. Geekay actually looked like food, like when they're in that match. I'm just being honest. That was some of the most uninspiring ball I've seen in Rocket League in a very long time. And then they lose to Carmine Corp.
Yeah.
So it's just I don't think Gentlemates are beating NIP, Vitality, or Carmine Corp if they're playing like on their game at all. I don't think Gentlemates are winning that, unfortunately. So that's why I have them at 4. I think they can be good if they're playing really well, but I haven't really seen them play really well. So,
no. All right. A very, very, very quick aside. Did you guys see what GC posted with the double triple commit between Geekay and WIP? All I'm gonna say, we
amazing.
never saw anything like that out of NA. Like, what are we doing?
This GK team is so stupid. Every GK roster every Joyo roster looks like this, bro. I don't know how it works. It doesn't really work. They just get a couple fluke performances, and everyone's like, "Wow, this team has a really high ceiling." But yeah, honestly, they just gotta make everyone else worse. Yeah. Kind of the Reddles effect, but
yeah, I can see that.
Reddles, yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy how we low key need Rise, Joyo, and Vatira to team again.
I don't think that's gonna happen. Maybe Joyo and Rise can go to Mina together and play with Twiz or something. I don't know.
All right, number 8. Gentlemates Space Station Vitality. We finally got a different pick. Wait, no, we had the. I'm blind.
This is the same. This is the same as last time. It's just all in a different order.
I'm trolling. Yeah. Okay. I'll keep talking about Gentlemates. Yeah, I have them as EU3. I did these rankings and then I redid them, and so I'm a little bit thrown off by what I did the second time. But yeah, Gentlemates at 8. I do agree with the take that they're mid, but they go up 1, and at least they jump Ninja Pajamas because they did nothing, but that's kind of meeting expectations considering what else is happening to teams in Europe. Like, we've talked about how uninspiring Geekay have looked. Obviously, Gentlemates have the head-to-head win over Geekay as well. Ninjas lost series that they shouldn't have when Gentlemates, won every series that they would have been expected to win. So, yeah, I guess they technically lose to Vitality in the Swiss stage, and then if you combine that with the Copenhagen land, it's like maybe I think that's why I end up having Vitality above Gentlemates at the end of the day, because for a second I thought I was going to have Gentlemates being EU2 by just doing absolutely nothing and meeting expectations. But yeah, I've got them at 8. They move up 1 spot. They're weird to place, and they got to either start winning a series that you would expect them to win, and I guess I just don't care that you beat Geekay because Geekay looked bad, and maybe I should. But yeah, I mean, I'd hope at this point, like maybe you get a Vitality in bracket and you're able to actually take them down and prove that you still got it because you should have beaten them the first time. Or you're able to take down Carmine Core. I'm not really sure, but these guys are just kind of existing, and at least they're not falling flat on their face, and they don't have anything that I'm pointing to and laughing at like I am with a lot of other teams in Europe right now. So, let's go Space Station next. Pyro, talk to me about them. You got them the highest out of all of us, so
Yeah, I wanted to drop them lower, but again, there's so much mid. There's so much mid. And I'm gonna keep them above Vitality because of the head-to-head win at the kickoff LAN. But I think we're seeing kind of SSG. This is gonna be this is gonna be two teams. It's gonna be the team we saw at the kickoff LAN that is really, really good, and the team that lost to Dig twice. I thought it was hinge on Diaz. I think it was more hinging on Chronic almost. He was pretty underwhelming. And again, no doubt that they'll be back. I've said this a lot of times before. They are a very solid team that had a bad series. But, Dig, as good as they looked, you still should be beating them at the level of talent you're playing, even on an off day. Like, let yourself beat them and then get clean swept out by Shopify. That's a more respectable performance than this. It does put their major qualification a little bit at risk. They're 1 point ahead of Foot. They're 4 ahead of Gen.G. I mean, well, we'll see if they do this again. I don't think they will. I mean, they took a game off of NRG in Group A, which is really more than you can say of most teams this regional.
yeah,
Except for Redacted and, of course, Shuffles Kittens.
Yeah.
Shuffles Kittens is a weird team, man. I've been waiting for them to give me some more data, but they have just been slammed into some awful brackets. I think they went NRG into Foot in this second regional, and then in the first regional, they went Foot into Shopify were the 2 losses they had. So
yeah.
weird team. But yeah, SSG are good. I think they had a bad series more than this showed their true level, but they definitely can and will be this inconsistent this season. And they are only this high because everything below them is just as, if not more, questionable.
Yep. All right. And then, Geo, let's continue the Vitality tirade.
All right. Vitality is their players, their raw talent is dragging them to where they are right now. And like, but that's it. Like, it's I hate this Vitality team so much because it makes my brain hurt so much. In Open 1, you lose to NIP, which is fair. NIP were looking good. You shouldn't be losing 4-1 as Vitality, even if NIP are looking good. Then you squeak by Gentlemates in a Game 7 overtime, and then you get bodied by Carmine Corp. To be fair, it's Carmine Corp, but for Vitality standards, when you have Zen on your team, Zen should be taking Carmine Corp to, like, at least Neo Tokyo with how the community treats him. All right. Then this regional, they beat Magnifico. Oh, okay. Sorry, yeah. Sorry, Zen. Wow, you're back.
Not everybody can do that. Not everyone can do that.
Not everyone can do that. And then they lose to a Geekay, who are still, like, I don't know how you can look uninspired while winning, yet Geekay manages to do it. And Vitality lose to a team that is still uninspiring to me. I'll give it to Geekay. They were looking better than they were the day before. I will definitely give them that. But this is never. Vitality should not be losing that. Maybe if Geekay actually looked like really well and informed, but they didn't, and we saw that in the finals. But I don't know. This Vitality team is so weird. And they're where they, like I said, they're still in top 8 in my rankings, but that's basically just their raw talent dragging them across the top 8 finish line, right? But I don't know. I could see them doing something at LAN just because, I think Zen has kind of a LAN buff in a way.
Up until
That's
Sunday,
kind of
of course.
up until Sunday. Yeah. Vitality has always looked good in the group stage.
That too.
But
Yep.
I don't know. I'm gonna say this here right now because I also want to hold myself accountable. Is if Vitality go 3-0 in groups, that doesn't mean that they are an amazing team. Even if they're in the group of death, I don't care. I really don't care. They could be playing
It's a good take.
Carmine Corp, Falcons, and NRG, and they could go 3-0. But if they still have a god awful performance in the playoffs, then I really don't care. All right.
Okay.
Uh, I need to see something out of this Vitality team, something useful at all, and they're not. I'm sorry, but like, I don't know. I don't know.
All right. I'll keep us going on Vitality because I've definitely got him at 7.
Mhm.
We got 2 redacted picks in here. Interesting. That's actually more surprising to me than I thought. I thought we were going to line differently. Okay. I posed the question in our Discord: how many NA teams do you have above EU2? Because while I was posing that question, I was thinking I might have 4 NA teams above EU2. And then I obviously switched it around. I moved SSG lower. That's kind of what's throwing me off a little bit. Mainly because I know that already we've said enough that Myth is going to hit us with the Curb Your Enthusiasm theme the minute that EU inevitably somehow does better than North America this land, despite all the evidence pointing to the contrary. But if I had 4 NA teams above EU2, I don't think I'd hear the end of it. I'd have every credential revoked.
Yeah.
And so I've got Vitality. Also, moving up 1 by doing nothing, you lose to Geekay inexplicably. Maybe I'll view that similar to how Furia lost to Secret and be like, what the heck, guys? That's such a one-off that I don't understand it. And at least in the eyes of if we're comparing them to Space Station, like I know we've had that head-to-head, obviously that could put Space Station above Vitality, which is why I had them up there in the first place. But at least in Open 1, that Space Station team was not a team that looked like they would lose to Dignitas twice. And despite the fact that Vitality then lost to Geekay, which is, again, not a team that you would expect them to be losing to, at least Geekay is still a more respectable loss to take than Dignitas is. So I've got Vitality at 7. They're EU2 by being slightly better than you might be, slightly better than the rest of the teams in this range. But yeah, I'm, again, uninspired. We've said plenty about Vitality, so I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Redacted.
Can I add something on SSG really quick?
Yeah, go for it.
Just one little tidbit. Before we're done talking about him, is I honestly think that the kickoff land, I still think they can go further than that, like their level, but it's just a question of if they're going to. I just want to make it clear that I think SSG has the potential to maybe even be second in NA, but they need to get their stuff together.
Yeah. I mean, after the first Open, everyone was thinking they were going to go win their event because NRG was out of it and they'd already beaten Shopify. Like, it's definitely possible, but they've got to get it together. So.
I can start talking about Redacted.
Yeah, you've got them moving up 3.
Yeah, I was very, very impressed by them, and I'm glad to shut Myth up. That makes me very happy.
For the record, Myth was posing the question: is Redacted overrated before this week, and then vehemently was wrong.
Yes. And that made me very happy because I was giving him a lot of evidence on why they're not, and then he was like, "Well, actually, Europe historically."
He's not even here to defend himself.
But yeah, Redacted looked great. They beat Shopify, which was awesome to see, because I was worried that this might become kind of like a Carmine Corp Vitality situation with them. That maybe Shopify is going to grow to be like their kryptonite, but no, they took care of that quick. They said, we can beat any team in front of us, and then they lost to NRG, but that's not their fault. NRG looked like arguably one of top 2 team in the world with how they were playing this weekend, but I love what I'm seeing out of Redacted. They handled M80 as a top team should. They went 6-0 in the groups, which is, I think, a testament to how consistent they are. Um, I think that's kind of something that you can see between like the good teams and the great teams is how they do with some matches that like you could really let your guard down on, and they're not doing that. And I think that's a huge testament to them. Um, yeah, I watching Talk, man, watching Talk play, like, all right, this is gonna sound crazy, and I'm not comparing Talk to this player. I want to make that very clear. I want to make that abundantly clear that I'm not comparing him to this player. All right.
Oh,
But with that being said, watching Talk play gives me a similar, not the same, but a similar to feeling of watching Zen like in his
no.
rookie
I
year.
can't
Well,
believe you
don't
would
All
make
right.
jinx
that
it.
comparison. I
All
can't
right.
believe you
Oh,
would say
No,
that.
okay. I'm not saying they're on the same level. All right. I'm not saying that they're on the same level, and I'm not saying, like I said, it's not the same feeling, but it's a similar one. All right. It's like, oh man, it's like having two flavors of cakes, right? It's not the same flavor, but that you can tell that's cake. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, man. There's something special about this kid. Um, and Wavy and Two Piece are playing amazingly as well. Um, the reason why I'm not ranking them higher is because we haven't really. They're not players who have an extensive record on land where you can be like, oh yeah, they're gonna be fine at land. We don't really. It's still a question mark. So that's why I can't put them really any higher right now. And it is still one event, whatever, but that they look this good. But I don't know, man. I could easily see redacted being the second best team in NA going into the Boston Major, and I could see them getting a top four at the Boston Major. Like,
hmm hmm
ooh.
It's a
I
call,
really
but
like this team.
yeah,
I really like this team.
Yeah. All right. I'll talk a bit about the team in a second, but I think a more apt player comparison, if you want to go that route, would be Daniel,
I
because
can't believe
Zen
you
was
would make
doing.
that
No,
comparison.
okay, look, listen, hear me out, hear me out, hear me out. Zen was doing stuff on the ball that we just hadn't seen before. Talk is not doing that, but what he is doing is operating at a very high level, like 90% of the time. And that's what Daniel was doing his rookie season too. He was not like bringing anything too new to the table, but he was so incredibly mechanically consistent, and he had like one or two down series every event.
Yeah.
I think that's closer to what we're seeing, and I think like Daniel, Talk might take a few years to develop into really a world-class superstar, though he is very good right now. But anyways, I really think this team. I might even. I'm not going to change them now, but they are very close to six for me because I am extremely impressed with what they've done. I am so happy Wavy's on a team that's this good because I mean they look really good. I said this about MIBR, but this team plays in a major region, and they made M80 look kind of silly after M80 had a couple of good days. They beat Shopify, and like Geo said, I was kind of expecting Shopify to be kind of their boogeyman, but they made quick work of that series, or not quick work. They made quick work of that narrative, I'll say. And then they lost to NRG, but they took two games off of them, and in the form NRG was in, that is a really impressive showing. So I'll give them a lot of credit. And they've only lost to Shopify twice and NRG once this whole season, and that is it.
All right,
I guess they lost to Genji and Swiss once. So, but I really want to see this team on land because I have high hopes for them. I mean, I think they might take a little more time to get used to playing on land because Wavy and Two Piece have the one world's performance, and
yeah,
Talk has not played on land before. But
yeah,
hopefully they
yeah.
can
It's
be really
kickoff one.
good. Oh, you're right. Yeah. But hopefully they can be really good because uh, I really want to see this team succeed. They're so fun, and I love how they play together.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say something that's controversial. All right.
All right.
Regarding Talk here, back to Talk, and this could be recency bias. This could be the fact that Daniel coming onto the scene was almost 5 years ago now. But from what I can remember, I I'm feeling more inspired by Talk's rookie year, like rookie split, than I was Daniel's rookie split. All right.
That's not
I'm gonna
crazy.
I'm
I
gonna, I'm
think
gonna just
the
say that.
results are more stark because Daniel came into a team that was borderline top four and made them top three, and Taka's coming into a team that was like borderline top six and is making them top two, top three. So
Yeah.
I can see that, but I think where the teams are, I think it's just because NA like Sypical is a better player than Reddles was, so I feel like where they have ended up is a very similar spot.
Yeah. They're both red velvet cake, to keep the comparison going. You know, like
Yeah.
if Zen and Talk are both cakes, like Daniel and Talk were both red velvet cakes. You can tell they're the same flavor. I'll continue
Yeah.
talking about Redacted.
But I think
'cause-
Talk's got a little something extra in that red velvet cake. I don't know what it is.
Maybe.
Could be a
I
dash
don't,
of cinnamon.
Don't,
I don't
don't
know.
jump the gun because
I'm ju-
he wasn't always their best player. Like Wavy and Two Piece were playing out of their
No, I
minds
know,
in the
I know, I
semifinal,
know.
grand final.
Yeah, and truthfully, it comes down to how they do it the first major, because I think a large part of what propels Daniels rookie split so high is the fact that they did make third at that major. I mean, they came in as the fifth
Yeah.
seed. They obviously make the final in the first open. They lost to FaZe in the groups, and then they just make the lower bracket run. And then they get like 9th through 12th, I think, in the last one by losing to Oxygen. You almost, worried if they're even going to make the major at all. At least online form, Talk is starting out a little bit better than Daniel. And I know, like, you're saying that Talk came into a worse team than Daniel did at the time, but he's also coming in for worse shoes. No offense, Reddles, but let's be real. Replacing Sypical with Daniel is a more like for like trade than replacing what we're seeing out of Talk with what Reddles was putting on the pitch towards the end of the year.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've got Redacted at 6. I made the move. They've only lost a shop twice. They most recently beat them. They at least take NRG to Neo Tokyo during the finals. I was memeing on Wavepunk and everyone for rating Redacted so highly after one event. It's like, it's just one time. No, maybe I was wrong. Like, these guys showed up and they showed out, and they're continuing to do it. Like Geo was mentioning, with them, not dropping games against teams in the group stage. It's like, these are the hallmarks of teams that are here to stay. And I am almost ready to declare that Redacted is here to stay. And that's crazy to say after 2 events, especially considering this is 2/3 of a squad that lost to Virtus Pro, which was an APAC team at Worlds last year. Like, no, these guys are legit. They are here to play. They take the series over Rebellion. I know they were down 3-1, but they had the resiliency to bounce back. And even down 3-0 to NRG in the finals, they had the resiliency to at least pull out 2 more games and make it somewhat close. These guys are good. I don't know if I'm ready to say that they could be NA's 2 seed heading into the LAN, especially since Shopify has, at least maybe not 2 seed, because Shopify has a 5-point lead over them. But they're looking really good. They're looking really inspiring, and they're the most exciting team that North America has produced, like, coming out of really the woodwork or absolutely nowhere since when? Like, I can't even remember. So
Just out of nowhere, it's been a while.
Yeah, like, it's unironically, it might be Gen G the last time, like, and I'm talking the original Gen G with apparently Jack, Chronic, and Nolly. Like, nobody expected that team to be good. And so,
I mean, I guess you could say technically like Snowman SSG, but I feel like it doesn't really count because they had that one top 4 and then they were mid the rest of the season, and then they came out of the seed and had the second. It took another few events to get going. Like, that was very much like a gradual thing. Like, for this roster, I think they were consistently top 8 NA, and then they just immediately became top 3, which is insane.
Yeah.
We've got
also really quick.
Yeah.
If I'm an org that was looking to get into scene for Rocket League, I am actually kicking myself for not picking them up earlier.
Well, I mean, I think what was happening was that they were in negotiations, and Memory was holding them out for a bigger deal because they thought they could get a better performance and increase their value.
And he might have been right.
I mean, he was right.
Yeah, shout out Memory. Shout out Memory for that.
Hopefully they get it signed soon, dude. I want to see this team on an org.
Do we think G2 could come back in with them?
I mean, if they're gonna get back into the scene, this is obviously who they're gonna.
This is how you do it. Yeah. So,
a lot of players freed from prison on this team.
I think
I'm not going to elaborate. If you know, you know.
Yep. We got a Gentlemates and a Ninjas in Pajamas. I'm more questioning the Ninjas in Pajamas pick, so I'm gonna spin it over to Geo right now. You got them moving up 2. Talk to me about what inspired you to put them in number 6.
Well, when you look at Europe right now, I currently rank them as the second best team, and honestly, that's more of a me not having faith in the other teams than it is me having faith in NIP. And the reason why I have them above Redacted is just because it's just a LAN difference, and that's honestly the only thing. I think when you look at their online performance and Redacted's online performance, I do give the edge a little bit to Redacted, probably just from the 2 opens that we've seen. But it's just like I don't know how Redacted are going to do at the Boston Major when they're playing some international, like stuff that's not just EU, right? Um, but that's the only thing. Like, and honestly, after Open 3 you're going into the Boston Major, I'm probably going to have Redacted over NIP. But it's just right now, like, that's just kind of where I have to put him, just purely based off land stuff. But like I said, going into the Boston Major, and after we see the Open 3 from both teams, I'm probably going to have Redacted above them.
Yeah, I wonder how you have everyone there moving up a little bit. I don't know who you dropped out of your
I had
top
Space
whatever.
Station drop out,
Yeah,
and then
Space
I
Station
had
goes
Furia
5.
drop down a
Oh,
lot.
Furia. Okay, yeah.
Oh, the Fury -7. Yep.
Yeah, I'll touch on Gentlemates quickly.
Yeah,
I think
E2 by doing
Redacted,
nothing.
Resume Rise Redacted has been better than Gentlemates. They have a much better record, but um, I don't know. I really like this Gentlemates team comp. I think Oski plays a very good rock role on this team, but they all three of them have very high offensive pop-off potential. If Nas can really become very consistent, become an Oski type player, this team can go really far. Their vitality head-to-head has been poor. I think that's one matchup where they're going to struggle. But otherwise, they looked head and shoulders like EU's second best team. Um, they looked like easy win over GK, a couple of them. Easy win over Man City. Played Carmine Corp close, played him close award. And then even in last event, they played KC close again. Easy win over GK. And then a close win over Magnifico, close loss to Vitality. So this team is very solid. I think they're going to be pretty comfortable top 8, top 6 world level at LAN. I think Redacted, again, they have been better this season so far. They have a better resume, but Gentlemates, I trust just a little bit more right now. We'll see if that changes, as Geo said. If Redacted can pull off a type of performance like this again, they're going to be moving up.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely understand the, Gentlemates at EU2 just because they didn't look like they were about to screw up everything.
Yeah,
So-
they looked like the least struggling. This looked like a fine performance from them.
Yep. All right. I'm going to take a guess on this number 5 and say that
surely.
we all have Shopify Rebellion right here.
First triple
Um,
agree
Yeah.
the entire evening.
I mean,
There we go.
yeah, we were pretty comfortable with this 6 through 11. Or at least we all had the same teams for the 6 through 11. And I think the top 4 is pretty solid. We've been talking about the 5 through 11 range, but by the end of the day, 5 seemed pretty solid. I'll touch on them quickly. I at least from their perspective, close out the series, right? You got trounced by NRG, and I'm sure they were hoping for revenge, and then they just didn't get it. And maybe it's a little bit of Kofor, Tampa, debuff, like having to fly out on a weekend's notice. So it's not really a panic button. You're still leading North America in points. And so, yeah, honestly, just really kind of a holding pattern. I've got them moving down 1 just because I probably jumped them up a little bit too soon, but you guys have them both holding steady. So,
yeah, it's kind of this. Same deal. I mean, this nothing has really changed. I think we all thought that Energy was going to bounce back, and Energy kind of slapped them around a little bit. And even the Redacted loss, like, it's not great. They really should still be winning that series, but compared to everyone else in the world, like everyone below them, they are still a step above. Like Redacted aside, Redacted again, we're just waiting to see more consistency. But based on of teams that have proven their level to some extent, Shopify are still the best of the rest. It's going to be hard for them to break into that world top 4, to be honest. I think maybe like it could happen by virtue of Twisted not being as good as we think. I think that's still a possibility on LAN. But yeah, I mean, they look fine. They'll be here to stay, and maybe they'll get better. They will likely stay at 5 for the rest of time.
yeah. It's also first killer versus Monkey Moon, so who knows?
Yep.
So.
Maybe. Never know.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't have much to say on this Shopify team. It's kind of just another first killer team, I guess. I'm a little bit more inspired by this one than I have been ones previously.
Yeah.
But it's at the end of the day, it's still a first killer team, and it's still FK and LJ, and I do think that duo should probably break up.
I mean, they do always find themselves around in this spot, don't they?
They do. They
Yeah.
somehow do.
FK teams. Yeah.
Not in 4th though, which is the historical meme. We've got the
we
Twisted
might
Minds
agree the
full
whole
agree.
way left. I think we're gonna see across the whole group. There's gonna be some variance from 1 to 4, but I think for us, I think we can see it pretty similarly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. In terms of Twisted Minds, me and Geo got them moving down too, but Pyro, you saw this coming. You've had them at 4 since
I was
last
not
week.
convinced last time, man, and I'm not. Can I go ahead? Sorry.
Yeah. Victory lap it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm like obviously they're not bad. They're still number 4 in the world, but I don't know. Like I saw them take a game 7 win over Sleeping, and then a game 6 win over a Falcons team that was really struggling to mesh. And I was like, yeah, this is still the 4th best team in the world. They're still worse than Falcons. And then this time they go around and prove it. And that's kind of verified, not by the forfeit loss to whatever. I don't even know what was happening there as a whole situation, but by
Yeah.
I'm not. They took a game 7 win over. I'm not going to pronounce the team name, but it's over Hatem and SQQP. Sorry, Kiki, if you're watching, I can't pronounce that. I think you told me, but I mean, this is still a team whose floor can be low. They are still very, very, very good, but in terms of how consistent a lot of these top teams are, Twisted have a lot more. Their confidence interval, we'll say, of their performance level is a lot greater. So for me to see them lose to Falcons again, especially Falcons team that still doesn't look like they're really everything is clicking for them. This event especially was really struggling for them. They took like a couple, like 3 championship field. Oh my God, champions field wins. Twisted still looked worse, and I think they're a pretty comfy 4 for me.
Mm-hmm. Gio, you had them moving down 2. You had them at 2 last week. Anything to add?
Not really. Like they're still 4th in the world, right? It's still very good. But I don't know. I think Falcons, obviously they beat them, but I do think that they looked better. So it's not a crazy statement to say after a team beats another team. But yeah, I don't know, because this is going to get into my Falcons conversation, which I don't want to do yet until we get that revealed.
All right. Yeah, honestly, I don't know how much I have to add either. Like, you go back and forth with Falcons, or I don't even know if you can say you go back and forth, but you had Falcons number earlier this season. You lose it to them, and I think a lot of people were anticipating Falcons being better. And so me moving Twisted Minds above them last time was a reaction to the fact that they beat them, but also very understanding of the fact that it's like, once Falcons figures it out, they're probably going to jump right back above them. Excited to see it come down to the last regional. I know I mentioned it earlier. It's one of 3 that I'm really pumped for this weekend. We've got a finals match between Twisted and Falcons to see who gets the 1 seed versus the 2 seed, which really could matter depending on the groups. We've got the Power Wildcard Series, and then we've got the SSA matchup between Pioneers and Five Fears to see who makes the major in that spot. So
Sam could be just as deterministic as well.
And Sam is wild. So good weekend ahead. Let's get to number 3. Are we matching here? We're matching here.
Okay.
Yeah, we didn't match the entire time.
I was worried that I was going to be the only one having Falcons at 3. I was worried about that. I'm not going to lie.
Nope.
Nah.
Yeah, what do we even say?
I mean, go ahead.
Is it insane to say that I don't know if, like, relatively speaking, I don't know if Falcons are going to be as good as Falcons were last season? I don't know if that's crazy.
That's definitely
not crazy
to say.
At least with how they look right now.
They had something special, especially towards the end of that last season. And obviously with TRK and its wins, like that's just one of the best rosters of all time. I know accolades wise doesn't always measure up. But in terms of like the chokehold they had on Mina, like that's gonna be remembered as like a complete legacy roster. And so it is very weird to see somebody new in those shoes, especially considering they struggled at the start.
Yeah, and also I don't know how I love the twins with Drawley as like an on paper thing. I like with how their play styles work, I guess. And it's also just you're getting rid of chemistry that the twins have had for 2 years, right?
Yeah.
And that's huge. Like that is a huge thing. I don't like you could be slotting someone who's like even better than Drawley, and it's like you're still destroying chemistry with a player that you've been teaming with for two straight years. So I don't know. I think it's gonna take time. Still some time, and I don't know. I definitely think they have the ability to win some lands this year, but I'm also not super convinced yet that that's just like straight up gonna happen.
Yeah, I think this team, pound for pound, the most talent in the world. I'm not really. I don't feel like that's in too much doubt. What I will say, they're still taking time to mesh together. And as you said, the play styles will take some time to get used to each other. I think they're going to be really, really good late in the season. Right now, they're still very solid, but Clearly not to that level yet. They had a lot of struggle wins. They had their, famous tech pause when they're down in a series to come back and win it. So,
Interesting.
Jolly's at
Yeah.
least getting adjusted to that. But
Mhm.
they're once they click, they'll be good. Right now, they're still very solid, but they don't really seem like they're in championship winning form right now. And we're just waiting for that to change, I guess.
Yep. All right. Let's unveil 2 and 1 at the same time because we might
I
just
think we
match
should have.
pound for pound.
Yeah.
We do.
Yeah,
There we go.
Carmine
All
at
right.
1 still. NRG at 2.
Carmine, I'm gonna gloss over you. I don't really care. I gotta talk about NRG. I gotta talk
Let me
about
tell
NRG.
you about NRG.
Let me tell you about NRG. All right. Now, I am thinking back, even when they had their most dominant regional win statistically, like games wise last season, which I believe
Which one was that? Was it 2? I feel like it was 2. I can't remember though.
No, it was no, it was regional. Uh, it was open 4, I believe. They only
Okay.
dropped 2 games. No, wait, I'm lying. I'm a big fat liar again.
Just
Oh my
comes onto my
god.
channel and lies multiple times.
Yeah, my bad.
That's
No,
good. That's good.
it was
Myth does it all the
yeah,
time.
it was open 2 of split 2. Yeah,
All
you're
knowledge.
right.
Let's go.
The form that they had in that grand finals, I have never seen NRG play like that online before. I've never seen it. And this is
Yeah.
someone who watches almost all of NRG's games.
They put on a show.
Dude, if oh man, like I feel so bad for the rest of NA that NRG had a bad like first regional. I feel so bad for them.
It's just fuel to the fire.
Because dude, have we ever seen, other than like maybe K Corp, right? I don't know if I've seen a team play like that before.
In a major region, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
It
that
really
was
Just
one-sided.
no.
that was
BDS back when they were.
yeah.
I guess that's fair. I guess that's fair.
Yeah.
Um
I mean,
So-
we're talking about rosters that are all in, all-time contention.
That's true.
yeah.
I mean, this is number 2. Like, just straight up.
Yeah, and I still have Carmine Corp at 1, because Carmine Corp goes back to back, even if it is against a super uninspiring GK. You're still beating the team in front of you, right? There's not much you can ask from Carmine Corp there.
I could ask for that.
Yeah.
True.
I could ask for you to beat Rezi in the Swiss stage. Sorry, that's for next open. That's for next
Crazy.
week.
Yeah. I think, I don't know if this is that crazy to say. I think if NRG have even had like a similar performance, it doesn't even have to be the same. If they have a similar performance, I might rank him number 1 going into Boston. I don't know if that's crazy.
I don't think that's outlandish. At least.
And it looks good.
Yeah.
This is the first time since I've been a Rocket League fan. So this has been since season 7 of RLCS that I've been like just so happy to be a North American fan. Just like,
Don't
and
get your
not just
hopes
for
too much.
I know,
Dude,
I
we were
know,
living
and I'm
for
scared.
a bit. We were living for
And
a
I'm
bit.
scared.
Yeah.
Season 7, we
Yeah.
were better. We just didn't have the best team. And same with,
Yeah.
I mean, Season 8, we did win it. And then most of 2021,
Yeah.
2022, we were better across the board. We just didn't have the best team. So,
I mean, clearly that's what we're thinking right now, right?
Yeah.
yep,
and then we're
it
gonna
is.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna
I'll
have
touch,
no
That's what happened
NA
at the kickoff
teams.
LAN.
And then-
I'll touch on KC briefly because there's not that much to say. This is
Mhm.
clearly not the same roster that it was last year,
Yeah.
which is we can see by their more struggling performance. But when they are locked, they are locked. I'll tell you. Like you see this team in a grand final when they're win streaking on Sunday, it's just lights out.
Mhm.
There's nothing you can do. They are so unbelievably good when they're on, and you just can't do anything. I mean, GK saw that. Shopify learned that the hard way. I will say they haven't been doing that as consistently this season as they were last season. There's a lot of 4-3s, a lot of 4-2s on their Sunday performances. They've dropped games on Friday, which they don't normally do. But they're still really good. I think it'll probably take a losing an event to knock them off their perch. But they are really, really solid. And again, their peak, I don't know if it's one of the best in the world, but they reach it so consistently when they need to that it's hard for me to knock them down.
Yeah.
And then we have NRG. You guys said it. This is not a level they use, and Sathu said it. This is not a level they usually show online. I do not. like we're used to this team winning by comfortable series margins, but they like play every game close. They just destroyed everyone in their path.
Dude, it was
Like
not real.
they made it look so easy. Redacted took 2 games off of them, which was really surprising. But even then, it still felt like they were in total control of that series.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
it was, even like the narrative was all about how like Redacted were having like Wavy was smiling when he was getting 7-1s. Like
Yeah.
he knew that this team was a
Yep.
Death Star, and this is a very scary form of NRG. I don't know how much we're gonna see this. Like if they can do this consistently, that is a K Corp level performance. Um, and
If they can do this consistently,
if we see NA get a K Corp, I mean
I'm not
they
gonna
have an
lie.
NRG, they don't have a K Corp.
If they can do this consistently, then oh my god, I think there's no doubt in my mind that they are going down as the best roster of all time.
I think they're
Like,
close. I think
They need one more
They
world
are
championship,
close.
and I think they're there.
I think I would say even one more major.
one more
honestly.
major makes it a really, really close debate at a bare minimum.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
um,
But man, this like
yeah.
I genuinely think that having a garbage result in the open one is the best thing that could have happened to them.
They're
And I am
cured of their
so
full tummy
scared.
syndrome.
Dude.
They're cured
And
of their
I'm
full
s-
tummy syndrome, and they got hunger
Yeah.
again.
Yep.
This is a hunger that I haven't seen NRG have before, though. Like,
Literally never. Yeah.
this is insane, dude. I really hope that they keep this going into Open 3 and the major, definitely.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
I think with NRG, the reason I drop them lower is because that Open 1-4 was not anywhere near like a top 2 in the world performance, at least in my book. This was like, you know what? You're forgiven, dude. You go have that. If you look like this right afterwards, I'll just ignore whatever slip of you had. Honestly,
Yeah.
I made those graphics before the year where it's like they have this thing in college football where it's like another hypothetical win for the SEC. And I made
Yeah.
that for European Rocket League and Middle Eastern Rocket League. And I got so annoyed listening to everybody for 2 months talk about, well, if NRG was there, it would have been different. I'm like, why are we giving NRG every single hypothetical win? You know what? Maybe it was deserved. You know? Because, my
Honestly,
goodness,
yeah.
what we just saw was another level. I'm excited. I think if they keep up that kind of performance, even if Carmichael don't necessarily drop a series in the main event, if they look shaky, like I could see myself jumping NRG above
Yeah, I
them,
agree.
just based
Yeah.
on like
Yeah.
eye test and form, which is very much unlike me. But yeah, NRG, they're back. I'm not worried about what they put on the pitch in Open 1. They actually they control their destiny for the first seed
Yeah.
in North America, which is crazy to say.
Yeah.
But not unreasonable because we saw FaZe Clan in winter of 2023 take 9 through 12 and
Yes.
then win the next 2 events and get the 1 seed for North America.
Well, they didn't control their destiny then, but
They
NA
didn't.
has gotten
This time
really
they-
weird this split. But
Yeah.
it's definitely a 1B situation with them and KC. It has to be.
Yeah.
I
I got
and
one
this
more.
really hope
Sorry. I got
that
one.
we get. Honestly, my dream scenario in Boston is K Corp versus NRG in the final.
Dude, that stadium's
Um,
gonna go crazy if NRG wins
Dude,
it.
that would be nuts. Either that or like a redacted versus NRG final would be crazy.
That would be
But,
that'd be
like an
pretty
NA
hectic.
versus NA final in Boston would be generational. I don't think it's gonna happen, but
I think you got to give the
because it's
crowd.
never happened before.
I think you got to give the
Yeah.
crowd someone to root against, truthfully, and so that's
Yeah.
why I'd be super hyped if it was K Corp NRG. In terms of K Corp, though, I want to touch on them really quickly. They feel almost similar to what you could say with NRG in Open 1, where it's like NRG, you take them out before Friday, you're gonna be fine, right? If you want to knock down K Corp, you got to do it early. Like you got to catch them while they're sleeping, you got to catch them while they're warming up, because clearly once they got onto the I don't even want to say onto the playoff stage, but once they got to Championship Sunday, it was like, okay, this is inevitable. They're winning this. But if you take them out on Friday, if you take them out on Swiss stage, like it wasn't until the reason Vatira missed the main event and Carmichael missed that main event is because like they had that Championship Sunday streak. They obviously had that aura of inevitability when they get there. But they slip too fast. And if you catch them slipping early, you might be able to take them out. And that's where I worry most for Carmichael. I already brought it up. We're technically not talking about this yet, but they lost to Resi, Smokes, and Toxic in the Swiss stage for Open 3. They lost to Magnifico in Open 2 in the group stage and had to make the lower bracket run. I do find it funny how no one's talking about it as the greatest lower bracket run of all time because everyone still expects Carmichael to do this.
Yeah.
But
Just like
yeah, they hold steady at #1, but I don't know. NRG, they're catching up. They're catching up, and it's exciting. So,
We'll see.
yep.
All right. You have time to look at RE for a second,
Yeah,
or
we're gonna take a peek at RIE.
okay.
Yeah,
I
break it
guess I
down.
mean what's the note on here? So Falcons at 1, KC2, NRG 3. I don't think this is too controversial. The Falcons are only at 1 because they pretty much started the season at 1 and they haven't moved that much. They've moved down a little bit. KC moved up after the kickoff land, moved down since then. And NRG have moved, like they moved way down after the first open and moved back up. So this is kind of 1, 2, 3. This is not too crazy. Twisted at 4, kind of they started a little lower and they moved up, so they seem pretty comfortable there. Automate's Vitality, Shopify, SSG. RAE thinks that EU is better than NA, and it's based on results only. It thinks that Vitality taking a bunch of clean sweeps over mediocre teams in the group stage and over teams on Saturday gives them a lot of weight versus some poor Sunday performances. So it has them here. And SSG and Shopify were both ahead of both Gentlemates and Vitality, but then they had at Shopify actually. If you click on the bar, it will tell you the rating change since the last event. You have to click on the red part of it, the bright red, not on the text.
Oh yeah.
So it'll show you. So Shopify dropped
Okay.
48 from that redacted loss and from getting cleaned up by NRG. SSG dropped by a little less, but it's kind of the same deal. Where they started lower and they haven't done too much in the model's eyes. Again, even before the kickoff land, they were way lower. And now they're equal. GK, NIP, Furia shouldn't be too controversial. Magnifico is kind of a weird one where they started like really high. Like they started at 12 and then they kind of just stuck there. Redacted, they've moved up 200 points since the start of the season, which is insane. At the very least, online, that's the biggest jump I've ever seen for any teams in between two events. Offline, there might have been a little more. I think Wildcard went up by 150 at Worlds or something, but they are moving so quickly, and if they continue to put up this form, they'll keep moving like that. Foot's fine. MIBR Wildcard Secret, Genji. I mean, once you get below here, it's kind of about where you'd expect. I will say a lot of the MENA and EU teams started. A lot of the MENA teams started here and just stayed here because they don't really do a whole lot besides beat each other up and lose to Falcons and Twisted. A lot of EU teams, just because of how high the region rating is, start at a kind of this mid level and just stay here and trade with each other. That's why Gentleman's, Man City, Novo are all this high, and then from there you're gonna get below. Shovel's Kittens is a bit of a weird one because they really haven't played, like they don't have good results, but they've really only lost to like Foot and Shopify the whole season. So like, what are you gonna do? And then 9 lives is the only ugly mark there.
Yeah, that's
they'll
tough.
take a while to get down. Like honestly, if you make a main event and lose to bad teams, you get punished more than missing in Swiss because the assumed Swiss loss is to like if you're out of Swiss, you assume you lose to 2 main event teams and 1 non-main event team.
Yeah. All right. Well, that just about wraps us up. I know it's getting kind of late East Coast, so gonna close this out here. Thank you guys for coming on. This is a blast. I've enjoyed having you
awesome,
both
man.
on this project for as long as we've had you, and yeah, curious to see how the rankings increase. Obviously, we're some of the most reactionary, so honestly, it's pretty fun watching your two in specific. Like I remember Geo had Geekay dropping pretty low after that first event, and I was like, wow, okay. And then I remember even back to last year with Pyro dropping Gentlemates almost out of the rankings after Open 2, and then it actually like panned out.
I was
pretty well.
right. That's all I gotta say.
Yep. But before we go, Gio, you want to give us any shout outs?
Wow, you really put me on the spot here.
Yeah, sorry.
Dang. Shout out to the new season of JJK. It has been generational. I like wow. The newest episode got to be one of the best anime episodes I've ever seen in my life. Shout out to my cat. Follow me on Twitter at Geofey RL. I think I'm shadow banned right now, so you're gonna have to type it in fully, unfortunately. But
Fire.
yeah, and shout out Martian and Pyro for being here.
Yeah.
Awesome that we are able to have community-driven stuff like this. It's really cool.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm having a blast with it too. Pyro, what you got?
Thanks to you, Martian, for hosting. It's always a blast to be on here. Geo as well. Great to be on the show with you. Let me give a shout out. I don't know. I guess you can also follow me on Twitter. Powerblocks with an X instead of an S. In between me complaining about ranked and the Bears, you can find some useful data science stuff on there with RAE if you're interested in that. I had another one in the pocket, and I seem to have forgotten it. Maybe Colt the Turtle from Shift and the Pickstop leaderboards. And we'll throw one out there for Commander Thar as well.
All right. All right. I'll shout out you guys. Thanks for coming on. And then also have to shout out the channel members. I'll throw them up on the screen as well. I'll throw them like right here-ish area. I don't know. I think my mouse will be hidden behind them at that point, so I don't know if that's going to work as well as I wanted it to. But shout out to you guys. Thanks for supporting the channel. And yeah, let's have a good open 3. I know, really looking forward to this weekend with several major spots getting decided. And yeah, I guess since everyone else is plugging their Twitter, I'll plug my Twitter as well. You can find me Martian Turtle GG. And then I guess I'm on other social apps, but I'm really not, truthfully. So yeah. Thanks for coming on, guys. And thank you everyone for watching up to this point. Let's have a good open 3 weekend, and I'll catch you guys next time. Adios.
Bye.
See ya.